Hello, I'm Jostra and welcome back to Katawa Shoujo. I know I didn't stream yesterday, but I was feeling ill. So, what did we do when we left? Oh yeah, Lilly left. So there's that. So Hanako is our responsibility. I woke up, took my pills, had a nice shower, quickly slipped on my uniform, ate a tasty breakfast, grabbed my bag, and headed off. All as per my usual daily routine. Didn't he used to complain about the food? It was only after arriving in class that the normality of the day was thrown off. After taking my seat, I watched my classmates trickle into the room over the next hour until every empty seat was eventually taken, other than Hanako's. She's in it. I can never get used to the idea that she just doesn't show up to class every now and again. It feels all the more worrying now as well, given that Lily's left. As Muto continues to drone on, I find my gaze flicking every so often over to her seat, as if she might appear there any moment now. Nobody else seems to care at all about her absence, but they have little reason to. Hanako being absent from class, after all, is perfectly normal, or at least it was. Her attendance hasn't been all that bad from what I've seen in my time here, but it was apparently much more spotty beforehand. This is almost an ominous time for her to be gone. It's the day before her birthday, and my suspicions are starting to rise after the breakdown she had in class when it was mentioned. An increasing amount of my thoughts is taken up by how I can help her, but in the end, I feel like I can't do anything. The bell heralding the beginning of lunchtime rings out, shaking me out of my thoughts. A collective sigh of relief can be heard from the class, though Muto looks quite put off. He dislikes being interrupted in the middle of his exciting lectures after all. And when I'm wondering what I should do on lunch break, given that Hanako and Lily aren't here, the situation presents itself. Afternoon, Hee-chan. Afternoon, Misha, Shizune. You both look as bright as ever. Chi-chan wants to know if you'd like to have lunch with us today. Sure, it'd be good to have some company. The cafeteria hums with activity, with much like my old schools did. Sorry. Yamaku is different though, in how strangely civilized the lunchtime rush is. What one would expect to be an unruly mob chomping at the bit to get to the serving area is rather a neat and organized line. There's a small amount of jostling, and people's heads are often craning around to check on what's happening up ahead, and it's pretty subdued. This is due, no doubt, to the very special rules regarding... Hello, how are ya? Regarding such matters in the school. The same strict discipline is observed when students move in the hallways or come to and from their dormitories and the school gate. You miss me? While the reason for it may be slightly off-putting, I've come to quite like this sense of order that's enforced in the school. I didn't really like being told by Shizune and Misha to get their lunches, though. I feel a little used as I take a seat at the table where they're sitting, finding their food down in front of them. Sweet bread and strawberry milk for Misha, a bowl of ramen and juice for Shizune. I heave a sigh of relief as I put it all down. After the significant difficulty I had carrying it. Oh wow. Oh. I had some chocolate marshmallows today, so and I didn't drink any water, so my voice is gonna go on and off. Carrying it in addition to my own lunch. Thank you. Misha claps her hands together before popping open the wrapper and digging into her bread ravenously. Shizune simply gives an appreciative nod before giving her steaming ramen a stir and blowing on it a little to cool it down. I open my own lunch, another packet of sweet bread, and take a bite before washing it down with some juice. The bread is very sweet, so much so that I end up forcing myself to stomach it, just to get the experience over with. Wow, he really doesn't like sweet stuff. Midway through, I decide to take a break from the difficult task and ask what's on my mind. So, I'm guessing you two had a reason to drag me down here? You two seem to always have an ulterior motive after all. What are you flying, Hifan? You've any more? Her mouth is full of sweetbread as she speaks. It's a pretty unpleasant sight. Shizune looks a little grossed out before going back to eating her ramen. I wait until Misha swallows what she has in her mouth before speaking again. You're not buttering me up to more work. You're not buttering me up to make me work with you after school? Nope. Not trying to extract information from me that I might not want to give? Nah. Fine, you win. I guess you just wanted to eat lunch with someone as intelligent and handsome as me then. That's it, Hee-chan, you got it. Shizune looks unimpressed as Misha finishes signing her conversation and sucks in the last of the long noodles as she sighs her own thoughts. Hee-chan says you won't be so suspicious of us. So she's just doing her duty as a class representative after all. How is she are you doing that? As much as I hate to admit it, it looks as if I have trouble communicating with Shizune. It should be a simple matter of keeping eye contact with her and addressing Shizune instead of Misha in my speech. And when someone else is doing the talking for her, it's an unsurprisingly difficult task. It's a class representative's job to ensure everyone's doing alright in class, isn't it? Not really. Wait, how is making me get your food ensuring that I'll go well in class? Shizune huffs and adjusts her glasses disapprovingly. So, this is the thanks we get for giving you companionship during lunchtime? Natuwa Iko Saba, the 16th student, weighing hidden somewhere in this school. The one they call the Overman as well. Watch out for her. Hello, Firewall. How are ya? That's a total dodge of the question. Wait, hang on. How did you know that Lily's away and Hanako's absent, and since those two are the only people you hang around with, you also made it look kind of obvious to see. I'm fine. My body is 95% fine. Like, the dizziness isn't just gonna go away, but I'm fine enough to stream for 3 hours. Ouch, I may very well have done so. But she didn't need to rub it in. Maybe this is payback for before. Right, well, thanks. I appreciate it. And that isn't sarcasm. A two nod and we get back to finishing our meals. It feels a little embarrassing to be accompanied just because they noticed I was lonely. But it wasn't as if they're strangers either. It isn't long before I finish the last of my bread and start on the last of my juice. And as I do so, I find my mind wandering back to what I've been thinking about before the two interrupted my train of thought. I realize I don't think Rin and Emmy will be in Hanako's route. It feels like I'm the only one in the class. Just take a break when... No, I haven't had an overwhelming feeling of dizziness today, so it should be fine. In a class that so much acknowledges Hanako not being there. It felt like this the other times she skipped class, but now it's even more acutely annoying. Does nobody care if she's happy or not? Have they just written off any possibility of helping to make her better? Even Mudo doesn't try to keep her in class, and I'm still not wholly convinced by his reasoning. Hey, Hee-chan, is your juice past its expiry date? What? You were pulling a weird face like this. Well, I mean, no more because Hanako is the only person that can kill. That's not true. Kenji could kill Hisao. He literally pushes you off a building. As if it were needed. Misha mimics my own expression. Her exaggeration makes me grimace, though Shizune at least takes some amusement from it. I was just thinking about Hanako. Oh? It's too late to cheat Hanako. Misha's interest is piqued, and so is Shizune's, once my words are interpreted for her. Also, my birthday video, it seems to be popular compared to my other songs, even though it was both a meme and a song. I'm just worried about her being absent so often, especially now though, with what her birthday is coming around. The memories of that incident in class are still fresh in their minds. Their faces alone are telling that much. I think that's the first time I've seen Shizune like that. Do you know anything about Hanako? And the way I sang it too. Do you know anything about Hanako? Anything that might help? Misha shrugs and looks to Shizune, who mulls on this for a while. The only person she's ever talked to for more than a sentence or two are you and Lilly. Shizune may not be able to convey Lilly's name in the derisive tone of speech, but I feel as if it comes through in her sign language. Do you get dizzy like this often? It's fine, you can ask. No, that was the first time I ever experienced that. The effect is lost, however, after Misha's interpretation. There are a couple of things we know about Hanako as student council members, thanks to the records that passed through our hands, but we can't say anything about what's in them. Understandable. It sounds a lot like nurses-patient confidentiality. Every time I find someone that knows something about Hanako's past, it turns up being a dead end. The only way I'll ever find out is by asking her. Next meme song should be I'm gonna butcher the French. I'm gonna start a war by accident. I don't know if she'll let me know such things, but if it's for her sake, I have to at least try. Okay, Hisao, you're starting to become invasive.
Don't worry about it, Hee-chan. It happens every year, after all.
That doesn't remove my sense of worry at all. I still feel a little at fault for what happened in class, but this feels like it goes further, even without their confirmation of that fact. Misha notes my troubled expression, her own usually happy and reassuring face dropping.
Everyone has problems they have to deal with. Right, Hee-chan?
And the thing was, like, you know me, even if I was sick, I will still push through. But somehow, that sickness was unique. Every time I got determined or motivated, my headache got worse. It was like my body purposely told me to take a break. So I couldn't even use my old tactic of be motivated enough to push through sickness. This one was like built to just stop me. Yeah, I wish I could help Hanako more with hers. With that, a conversation trails off on a depressing note. Eventually, Misha manages to pick the mood back up through her usual bright and bubbly antics, but my mind remains focused on Hanako. Even your body's yeah. Like I was like, okay, I need to be I can't be dizzy. I need to stream. And then also my body's like, wait, I feel even dizzier. Oh no. I'll go check on her later. Like motivation the motivation was actually killing me instead of like making me go through streaming. I make sure my door is locked before dropping off my school bag. The dorms are quiet. Mudo kept me occupied longer than I expected, discussing my studies after class ended after class ended, and pressing me on some worksheets to give to Hanako almost as an afterthought. Absorbed in thought, I'm late in registering the shadow that appears in front of me. Looking up reveals the owner of said shadow. Oh no. Hey man, haven't seen you in a while. Oh, hi. What's with that response? My absent-minded greeting visually annoys him. I probably have had the same reaction. Sorry, just thinking about a lot of stuff. Thinking is a pretty poor excuse to not be abiding the war effort. And how goes the war? I'm preparing. Right now, I need money to help with those preparations. If you want me to loan you money, just say it. No man, I'm good. You're good? You don't want my money? Hey man, don't look so surprised. It's insulting. I'm pretty big in the competitive bowling scene, but yesterday I found some guys who didn't know that. Funny enough, yeah. I'm pretty sure it was a migraine. And the thing about me is that when I'm motivated, that's when my focus goes up. So I'm really thinking when I'm motivated. And that's probably why it hurt my head more. I'm fairly sure that betting would be against the school rules. School rules don't matter. This is a war situation. People these days they have no anticipation for what war means. Kenji, you're scrawny. You will die. in a battlefield. No matter how prepared you are, war is unpredictable. That's what you need to know, Kenji. So, what do you need this money for, dare I ask? Non-perishable canned food, building materials, most likely corrugated iron and wood panels, first aid kit, camping heater, portable radio, sleeping bag, flashlight, mechanical clock. That's more of a doomsday prep. But even then, you could never be ready. At first it strikes me as a rather random assortment of objects and materials. But after a few seconds it clicks. Yeah, split. Kids these days. Isn't that the list of materials for a fallout shelter? Ah, so you've read a Protect and Survive booklet. It's good to see someone so knowledgeable about how to protect themselves. You don't seriously think it's a non-zero possibility. To be honest, nothing is a non-zero possibility. No, I'm pretty sure there's zero possibility of that ever happening. He slowly and dramatically raises an eyebrow. Well, as dramatically as one can raise an eyebrow. The chance is, I don't know, 0.1 to the trillionth place. It's abysmal. Infinitesimal? Infinitesimal? Besides, where can you build a fallout shelter anyway? Certainly not on campus. It's my summer holiday project while I'm at home. My dad said I can do it. Really? Yeah, he thought it'll improve my crafting skills and my manual dexterity or something. Also, chat isn't showing on stream. Huh. Let me just quickly check that. So it should be showing. Yeah, it's not turned off. I don't know. Either way, I can read it. This is peculiar. Let me try turning on and off chat box again. Okay, try typing. Knowing Kenji, his dad probably just thought it might keep him out of his hair for a while. Turn and... That's not what I was trying to say. Okay. It seems like it's working. It looks like I just need to refresh it. Because apparently it was on. Yeah. Still, it does make me wonder what his parents are like. Maybe they're totally normal. Crap. First Jaws moment. Maybe they're totally normal, and Kenji is just an aberration. On the other hand, maybe this kind of paranoia and fearful survivalism runs in the family. Hey, want to help me build it? You look like the type to be handy with tools. If I had your help, we could make a really badass bunker instead of just a fallout shelter. I doubt it. Playing soccer before my accident gave me good footwork, and I've really never tried my hand at anything approaching real handiwork. Because my game froze, I was like clicking it multiple times, and then it just ended up skipping. I'm busy over the holidays anyway, I'm afraid. A shame. If the feminists ever got a hold of the launch codes, I fear that so few will be prepared. And your fallout shelter will protect you from a nuclear bomb explosion in that case that this does happen. Yeah, that's why it's called a fallout shelter, not a blast shelter. A fallout shelter isn't meant to protect against a blast. That's what a blast shelter is for. I thought you knew better. Yes, don't make. Kenji doesn't know how. Kenji doesn't know how nukes work. You can't choose your target. My mistake. My home's pretty far from any major military sites, so the fallout following a nuclear exchange is a big concern than the blast itself. You do know you could target nukes, right? It doesn't have to be a major city or a military base. What this will do is keep the dust and other particulates away from me, my food supply, and my sleeping area. It's gonna last me at least 14 days though. 14 days is a pretty long time. It is. I need 1 liter of water for drinking. 2 optimally so I can wash as well. Toiletry is easy enough. Just garbage bags and a bin placed outside the shelter area. Food means canning supplies, of course. Of course, and the radio is for outside communication? Right. So I can pick up government alerts on what's going on outside. I need a mechanical clock rather than an electronic one, in case the electromagnetic pulse from a nuclear blast airfield fries it too. Now this is kind of tempting me. Why are we talking about Fallout? This is more like 60 seconds. You know that game, 60 seconds to survive or something? There's all the other stuff I need as well, like extra clothing, matches, and candles. I think I still have time to gather it all though, maybe. As much as I hate to say it, I'm a little impressed. He's really researched this, and researched this and thought it through. Then again, I don't know if I want to live in a post-apocalyptic world with only people like Kenji having survived. Sounds like you really know what you're doing. Damn right I do. It must be hard living in constant fear like this. He hardly ever socializes, ever. So the fact he went bowling with others is in itself something of a surprise. This mentality reminds me a little of a certain someone. Thankfully, her fear of others doesn't manifest in such a distinctly eccentric way. Imagine someone made like an alternative where Kenji and Hanako's personalities switched. One thing I know for sure is that I certainly can't tell him exactly why I haven't been hanging around with him much recently. It's late. I have stuff to do. I'll think about making a fallout shelter or something, though. Yeah, alright, that's cool. A man has to do what he's gotta do after all. You should hang out with me sometime, by the way. You're a cool dude. Cool dudes should hang out together, right? So Hanako is the redditor, and yeah. Imagine someone just makes like a Katawa Shoujo fan game where everyone's personality is switched. Like, I know it's like an odd number, but yeah. For some reason, that compliment actually feels kinda nice. The situation with Hanako being with it though means I probably won't be able to fulfill his requests. For now at least. That'll be good. I'll talk to you later about it when I can. Cool, later dude. He retreats to his dormitory room. I better go see Hanako. I stand outside of the door to Hanako's room, hoping that she isn't in too much of a state as I nervously clench the worksheets Mudo asked me to pass on to her. It's one more reason to visit her, and it gives me something to talk about. So I suppose I should be thankful to him for giving me the task. to get the boots. I know I have like a boot obsession, like come on. With a long breath to steady myself, I wrap my knuckles on the door in front of me. Silence. I listen intently for any sound of shuffling coming from inside, but I can't hear a thing. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Also, I found out that Lilly actually doesn't have a bad ending. She only had a good and neutral ending. But Hanako has a bad, neutral, and good ending. And obviously people always tries to go for the good ending. Because I did all the multiple choice in the past parts, I should be on the way to either the neutral or the good ending. Because if I mostly ignored Hanako, it will lead to the bad ending. I knock on the door again, slightly harder. Still no answer. How strange. Scratching my head, I make one last attempt at getting her to answer as I knock on the door one final time. Hanako, it's me. Mudo said to give you some stuff. For a while, the attempt seems just as unsuccessful as the rest. Just before I slip the notes under her door, though, I hear the handle rattling. As the door opens halfway, I quickly try to see how Hanako's faring. It's a task made somewhat more difficult by her oversized gown hiding much of her body. You're checking out her body, Hisao? Darn it, that chocolate marshmallow stuck to my throat. She doesn't look sick, or at least not immediately so. To be honest, I'd have preferred that to her expression right now. She looks terribly tired, and appears to be barely acknowledging my presence. Hi Hanako. Mudo wanted me to give you these since you weren't in class today. I hold out the loose sheets, which she tentatively takes in her hands. The way she moves is devoid of thought. Her posture is slumped. In an unusual manner for someone that's so often tense and wound up. Even her eyes keep looking away from mine, doing their best to avoid eye contact. I move my head a little to try and get a better look, but she just ends up turning away. Are you okay? If you're feeling sick or anything, I can go get a nurse. It feels almost pitiful to put on such a routine get well soon act. I can't think of anything else I could possibly do for her though. She seems to collect herself a little at the notion, but only a little. Her head remains turned away, but her eyes move towards me.
I'm fine.
And an awkward silence follows as it lingers. I notice that the sleeves and the cuffs of her oversized gown are slightly damp. Her gown bears slightly damp stains. Her cheeks are a bit red too. Has she been crying? I see. I hesitate a little before coming out with the words I rarely came here to say. Would you want me to stay? I don't have anything urgent to do at the moment, so it wouldn't be any trouble. Wow, he literally said to Kenji, I'll see ya, I have things to do. Then goes to Hanako's like, I'm not busy, you want me to stay? Her eyes slide away from me, and I lose any hope for an improvement of her mood. I wait for a response, but she doesn't say anything, nor give any kind of gesture. She just stands there, looking away from me. Hanako? She slowly shakes her head. Okay, good night then. With that, Hanako steps back and closes her door without a second word. More than a little worried, I retreat back to my room. Wandering up the hallway, I keep mulling over what happened. It felt like Hanako was only half there, as if I was interacting with a robot that was just doing what it was programmed to do without any real thought. She was a husk of a person. This is frustrating. I had hoped that meeting Hanako would help the situation, but I feel like it's only made it harder to understand her. How am I supposed to try and help her when she quite literally shuts me out like that? I didn't even bother to turn on the lights, opting instead to simply change into my pajamas, quickly choked down my evening pills, and collapsed onto my bed. Have you waited, huh? Hello, Raze. Can you I should have not said anything on Twitter about me liking boots. Katawa Shoujo. Is this Painful History? No, this is a different song. Once again, Hanako doesn't turn up for class. Try as I might to concentrate on other matters. I'm fine. My body is 95% working. Concentrate on other matters. This fact continues to distract me throughout the entire school day, and even as I walk through the school gardens to the dormitories. I don't think today being her birthday is a coincidence either. I don't know the link between the two events though, nor do I have any idea on what she's feeling. Were it physical pain, I could at least provide some limited comfort. With something like this though, I have no idea where to start. You had a crappy week? I hope I can entertain you. Also, Raze, what do you think? What do you think of my cover of The Only Thing I Know For Real? I run the people I know through my head, thinking about whether they could help. Shizune and Misha don't know that much about Hanako, and what little do they know, they can't tell me. Same for the nurse. In the end, there's only one person that knows Hanako well, and would be willing to tell me anything. Entering my dormitory room, I notice something that takes me off guard. It's starting to feel familiar. With everything that's going on around me, I'm thankful that the room started to finally be somewhere I can relax a little. When I first entered Yamaku, it felt immediately foreign in every way, from the untouched neatness to the way it smelled. Focusing back on the task at hand, I throw my bag onto the bed as I open the top drawer of my desk. Before she left, Lilly told me the number to call her on while in Scotland, and I wrote it down. It could be, I'm not saying for certain, some bloodshed. As a fan, it was great as someone with a bit of XP in instruments and stuff. Like, I can think your voice contrasts too much with the instruments. It would be fitting to that's the purpose of the meme. Like a big band combo. In hindsight, I wonder if she knew something like this could happen. I mean, I could cover Bury the Light, but the problem with Bury the Light is that it's a metal song, and in my jazz combo, and in my my singing voice is relatively soft, so even if I could reach the high notes, it's not metal level. Like, it's not rough, it's more like smooth and soft. So my voice seems to match more the ballad and pop songs. But I do like metal songs, it's just that I probably can't sing them properly. The Batman voice actually physically hurts my throat. Before she left, Lily told me wait, yeah, I already read this. Now that she's out of reach, I realized just how much both Hanako and I relied on her for guidance. I dig around drawer after drawer looking for the damned piece of paper. Eventually, thankfully, I find it nestled under a borrowed library book. Why I'm saying it'd be more fitting for something like jazz, more calm and soft. And you can title the album "This Voice Hurts My Voice." Yeah, people thinks it's the uwu voice that hurts my throat. It doesn't. In fact, sometimes it feels natural. That sometimes some people think that my uwu voice, or as you like to call it, my Hanako voice, is my natural voice, but it isn't. Some people think my ara voice is my real voice because it's deep, and some people think this voice is fake. But the Batman voice is actually the voice that hurts my throat. No, it's not. It's not the most natural to me. To me, the most natural is this voice. I probably should have just entered it directly into my cell phone. Come to think of it, without further ado, I entered the numbers and anxiously pressed the call button. Eventually, the phone picks up a feminine voice I don't recognize on the other end. It's probably Lily's mother. Sato? English? Suddenly finding myself unprepared, I realize I can't understand a word she says, either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I have the voice of a street fuck. On my yesterday, right? You know how I was supposed to stream Danganronpa, but I decided to take a break because I was feeling dizzy. Wait, Lily's mother. Sorry. I was tempted to do one of those Twitter calls, but I was kind of worried as well that I'd attract unwanted attention and that I don't know, I'll sound like I'm high because I'm dizzy. Yeah, Lily's mother. Either due to my limited vocabulary or her heavy accent. I should have anticipated this, since according to Lily, her mother is a native Scot. I soldier on the hope that she must know some Japanese, considering it's her daughter's native language. Hi, Jaws. I was told, hi, Jaws? Hello, how are you? I was told hi, Jaws just sounds like ara Jaws. Like, people says it sounds more like a relaxed version of my ara voice. It's Hisao Nakai speaking. An enthusiastic sound of realization can be heard as she recognizes the language. My feeling of relief is immense. How are ya? Sorry if this isn't like Oblivion or thing. Ah, you must be one of Lily's friends from school, correct? Even so, her accent means I have to concentrate to work out what she's saying. Yes, that's right. Pleased to speak to you, Miss Sato. It's so nice of her to find someone so polite. Lily, dear, it's for you. Her voice seems nice, if a little overenthusiastic, given the mundane situation. It's probably a landline home phone. I wonder if she'll say ara. I was also told this is the last time we speak to Lily in this route. There's a small silence as Lily takes her time getting to the phone. In the distance, I can just make out her mother scolding her playfully for just getting up. Hello, Lily speaking. You sound awful. She makes a sound somewhere between a dying animal and a yawn. The one thing I did remember to check before calling was the time zone. It'd be pretty late in the morning over there. So she really has no excuse. So, from what I heard, not feeling well? Just tired. What time is it there? Late afternoon. School finished for the day not long ago. Hanako's not well, is she? That was quick. My assumption that she must have known something like this could happen seems to have been on the mark. How did you know? Because today is her birthday. I'd hoped she might have gotten at least a little better after coming to know you, but how is she right now? She missed school today and yesterday. I still have to check up on her today. To be honest, after seeing how she was when I talked to her yesterday, I'm pretty anxious. I really have no idea what to make of it. Has this happened in the past? Is it related to her scarring in some way? What if you sing Red Sun in Mikan voice and name the song Iwu Sun? You really want me to torture Ray? Unfortunately so. Roughly the same thing happened last year when her birthday came up. As far as I can tell, it's because her parents died in the accident that caused her scarring, and Hanako blames herself for their deaths. What she says does seem to make sense. If she's blaming herself on her birthday, she may really be ruling the day she was ever born. Meanwhile, on my birthday, I was dizzy and I almost fainted in my birthday dinner. And we went out. My family and I went out, and I got really dizzy. Actually, I was dizzy on the way there. I almost fainted, and I'm pretty sure I vomited somewhere. It was like a blur. Hanako had mentioned her stay in the orphanage to me. Maybe I should take some more heart that she'd trust me enough to tell me such a thing. You really want me to sing more songs with that voice? Lilly seems so in the dark about it though. Almost to the extent that I am is a surprise. So that's why she lives in the student dormitories as well. Has she told you any more about the accident? Are we playing Hanako's theme? No, it isn't. This is with Lily's stuff. As close as I've come. She's very barely told me anything about what happened. What I know about it is largely conjuncture. If I had my keyboard with me, I'd off. She sounds depressed, almost defeated. Considering the trauma Hanako must have gone through, I can't fully fault Lilly for not knowing. Nevertheless, she still seems to consider it a personal failing. Don't blame yourself, Lilly. With everything she's gone through, there's a long silence on the other end of the line. I begin to wonder if the call cut out, but the voice on the other end speaks once again. There is another person, though that has been a subject of worry for me as of late. Oh? I run through the people she could be talking about in my head. The only friends she seems to keep very She seems to keep very close are Hanako and me, though there is a Kira as well. Thanks. That person is Yuesao. There's another silence on the line, but this time it's caused by me. Making others worry about me is something I've actively tried to avoid since coming to Yamaku. Child. Indeed, even my interaction with Hanako has helped stave off any major health problems. Yeah, the chocolate marshmallow. I want to eat more. I might eat some more after stream. Major health issues thanks to our relaxed and slow-paced lives. Uh-huh. What is there to worry about? What is there to worry about over me?
I apologize. I didn't mean any offense.
Sorry, I was just taken a bit off guard. Still, isn't Hanako a bigger problem at the moment?
For some time, I've thought that the both of you may be feeding into each other's warm worrying habits. I tried to amend this before leaving, but it seems to have done little.
Worrying habits?
When I asked you about what you had in mind for the future, your answer was very similar to what Hanako has said in the past. When that question was posed to her. It is well and good to want to protect her, but I fear that treating Hanako like this is as if she were a daughter of someone in need of special care. It's only going to achieve the opposite.
Yeah, that's true. If you're overbearing, it could drive someone away. Okay, if I trust my own judgment, I think that will lead me to either the bad ending or the neutral ending. I think Lilly has a good point, so I'll agree with Lilly. The situation got effectively turned on its head. After everything that's happened, this is the first time I find myself doubting Lily's judgment. I agree with Lilly. I don't want to admit it, but she may have a point. Something else bugs me though. And you tried to amend this? Wait, our outing into the city.
Quite absurd. Absurd? I thought that it might help if I dragged both of you out of Yamaku and into the wider world. I am thankful you became closer for it though.
So, she noticed that. I suppose she may well have been paying attention to us, and her hearing's incredibly good. Quite likely good enough to pick up what we were talking about if she tried. This sounds more and more like you were manipulating us. Silence. It's a harsh way of putting it, but I have no intention of stepping back from those words.
I'm sorry. I was just worried about you.
It's fine. I guess there are more important things anyway. It's not a total surprise that she'd do such a thing. Her motherly nature can be slightly overbearing at times, but she does have the best intentions. I was told I had the same thing, that I'm too worried about others, that I should worry about myself, and that I should give people more time to themselves. And Ragnar has noticed this too. It's my quote-unquote motherly nature. It's the reason why I'm always motivated to be a VTuber, to make sure everyone is happy and okay. And then my body finally came up with the anti-motivation method, which was to give me a headache every time I got motivated. So, you think I should think about myself more instead of trying to cater to Hanako?
That largely sums it up. Again, I'm sorry for not telling you this in a clearer way before going behind your back. I know I am as guilty of being overprotective of Hanako as you, but I fear that you are neglecting yourself in your efforts to give Hanako happiness.
Do you really think Hanako will be okay?
She isn't as fragile as you think. I don't know exactly what experiences she's lived through or what feelings she has in her mind, but she has managed to work her way through them until now. It's always my hope that giving her a little space will allow her to decide what she truly wants for herself and giving her in into giving her the intent.
Okay, I can't speak. I can't read because that headache is still with me.
Intuitive to reach out for it. Initiative to reach out for it.
There we go, initiative.
Please, have faith in Hanako. That's all I ask.
I guess I'll think about it for a while.
That's good. Being rushed won't get you anywhere. I know that at times you may doubt your relationship to Hanako, but she does.
Lily cuts herself off and takes a moment to reconsider her words.
Please, keep in mind that I wouldn't have befriended you if I hadn't thought you a fundamentally good person. You're a good friend, both to Hanako, both to myself, and to Hanako.
I think my Ada voice is off today.
Thank you.
That helps.
We share some small talk to try and lighten the atmosphere, and it feels very stilted.
There's a lot I don't know about Lily's stay in Scotland, but after such a heavy subject, I want to be alone for. It does about the. Oh, okay. I want to be alone for a bit to think. After a few minutes, we say goodbye. We end up saying our goodbyes, and I set my phone on my desk. Compared to Hanako's situation, mine feels utterly mundane. I still have both of my parents. I had a reasonably normal childhood. Any smashing it? Hello, Spiral, how are you? I had a reasonably normal childhood, and unlike many in Yamaku, my condition isn't immediately visible to the public. Yeah, but your condition can kill you at any second. But then again, this isn't just an attempt to justify the way I've been acting towards her. That may well be what our pasts were like, but when it comes to the future, I still have no idea what to do. In school, I've just concentrated on each day's work, and I've put off more and more things to cater to Hanako. To recall the words Muto told me after Hanako's breakdown about the purpose of Yamaku and my education, in hindsight, he was probably trying to push exactly the same thing. Just what have I been doing in the time since my heart attack? If I ever did manage to get Hanako out of her room and to open up, what then? I look out of my dormitory window as the sun slowly sets. It's a nice sight. Huh. The red sun's setting over paradise. Lily. But what I really savor is the quiet as the students return to their dormitory rooms. All I want to do now is think. I'm not sure how much time I have, but I want to work at where I'll go from here. Yeah, I kind of relate to Lily, like what Hisao said that Lily's motherly nature is overbearing. Apparently I'm just like that. It's the reason why I'm a VTuber. I want to make sure people are happy. I don't care what happens to me. What I care about is that others are happy. Katawa Shoujo. I think I'm actually almost to the end. I mean, if it ends early, I might pull out Danganronpa and stream for 3 hours on that, because I don't mind going overtime. Since talking to Lily yesterday, I've wanted to try and move on from the listlessness. Unless this stream ends in 2 hours. Like, at the 2 hour mark instead of the 1 hour mark. I've felt ever since coming to Yamaku. But even if I tried to concentrate on the book in front of me, Hanako's empty seat at the back of the classroom looms larger than life. Every time I start getting focused, my eyes flicker over to her desk again and my mind starts spinning. But the thing about me is that I have a habit of underestimating Katawa Sojo. Every time I think it's going to be short, it ends up becoming longer. It's Mickey. Once more, my eyes drift over to it, but this time, my vision is blocked by a certain other classmate. Oh, hi Mickey. Maybe you should just have lunch. I can hear your stomach growling from my desk. I let my head drop. I've been contemplating if I should play the Mickey mod. I let my head drop in disappointment. She seems to take some amusement from my reaction and hops onto my desk. Her grin as she sits on it reminds me of a Chester cat. So, what you working on? Some math. I have a decent handle on it, but I still want to revise. Oh, really? Let me see that. Before I can object, she grabs my mathematics book in her hand. She scans the page I was on, holding it open with the one hand she has, her left arm sitting useless on her lap. In my time here in Yamaku, I've noticed that the other students have a wide range of adjustment to their disabilities. On the purely practical level, Mickey is one of those who seem to have some trouble. Like, I still don't get it. Like, Mickey only appears in Hanako's route, but she is mentioned in the other routes. But she doesn't appear in Emi's route, even though they're both in the same club and the same track team. So why does she appear in Hanako's route? And you can't say the excuse. She's agony. Hello, Luna. I'll show you her disability. Show image. She's missing a hand. And don't say she appears in Hanako's route because they're classmates. That excuse doesn't work because she doesn't appear in Shizuna's route either. Except for that. Actually, she doesn't. Yeah, she doesn't appear. The stump on her left arm tends to be either hanging by her side, slipped into a pocket, or otherwise put out of the way. Sometimes she has a difficult time doing common tasks, which makes her visibly quite frustrated. I feel a little bad for thinking this way, but I'm thankful that Hanako and I don't have difficulties affecting our freedom of movement to that extent. Then again, if Mickey's problem worsened, at least she wouldn't have a real possibility of dying. My attention is refocused as she thumbs through a few pages, skimming their contents. Maybe the writers created her. Not really. Like I said, each route is written by one person. So no, each route is written by a different person. The Mickey mod was written by one of the writers of the game. I think it was Lilly's writer that wrote the Mickey mod, but the writer also claimed that it's not canon. So, even though it was written by a writer, it was considered not canon by that same writer. In Mickey's mod, you play as Mickey, and you have two dateable options. You either date Hisao, or you date another girl. I've been tempted to play that mod, actually, but I'm probably gonna play through Nekopara first. Oh, I already read that. It's clear by now that she wouldn't be any help. I'm guess you're not too interested in this stuff. Screw math. It's boring as hell. I agree with you. Pretty sure Miki and Hanako has the same artist. I could be wrong. She puts the book back in front of me with indifference. She kind of reminds me of Akane from Danganronpa, too. Her eyes move to the notebook beside it that I'd been working on. That I've been working out practice equations on. Wait, you're actually able to work that stuff out? Yeah. Wow, I've never talked to a computer with legs before. Thanks, I think. At least I'm doing better in this than history. Think it's worth asking the librarian for help. I heard she's shooting for uni. Oh, Yuko? Maybe. I don't know what she wants to study though. So what about you? Got anything you're thinking of after you graduate? Me? Nah. Not really, just enjoying it while it lasts. She looks a little awkward when asked about her future, and absentmindedly rubs her left forearm. I kind of want to ask her about it, but I don't think I know her well enough to do so. The conversation peters out, and I lean back to my chair, giving up on the prospect of studying. Miki notices my tired expression and looks oddly serious. Thinking about Hanako? Isn't that obvious? You've been glancing at her seat, and you've been pretty quiet. Not too hard to connect the dots. I'm just worried about her. Yeah, I can see why you would be. She can get weird sometimes. She sounds put off, and I can't blame her. Hanako was a hard person to interact with before she warmed up to me. Even with Lilly around to help, I haven't known her for that long either, so some of her habits would still be unknown to me. My face becomes troubled. If I hadn't developed feelings for her, this would be at least a little easier to deal with. I mean, no offense, she isn't a bad person, I know that much. I know, I didn't take it that way. It's just harder to deal with when, well, you know, you have feelings for someone. Oh yeah, that's right, no one else knows that we have feelings for Hanako except Miki because we told Miki that we like Hanako. Yeah, I can imagine that. It's hard to forget something like that would happen to her during class too. Memory. I wish she hadn't reminded me of that. She just confirmed that it was clearly noticed by others in the room as well. Come on, don't get that down. She's done this before. You've just gotta wait. You just gotta wait it out. She locks herself in her room and acts like an empty husk of a person for a sizable amount of time. Ever since she entered Yamaku, if not before then as well, and I'm not supposed to be concerned about that? Well, I might think that, but there's nothing I can do. I can't force her to come out, and she does see a therapist, so it's not like she isn't getting any help for her issues. Maybe it's natural to think that a couple of days ago you had yeah, like I'm about to get 162. Like I said, I don't want to be famous. I just want to entertain people. But I know that if I do get more attention, like my goal is to make as much people as I can happy. So it may seem like that my goal is to be famous. It isn't. I want to make as much people as possible as happy, but I'm not a sellout, so I don't really advertise that much. I know that's my mistake, but like I said, I don't want to be famous. And if I do join a company in the a VTuber company in the future, it's not because of fame. It's because I want to make people happy. VTuber companies tend to attract thousands before debuting. So it will give me an opportunity to make thousands of people happy. I mean, making 100 plus people happy isn't bad either. Like my mantra is, if I could make at least one person smile, my job is done. Maybe it's natural to think that way when you're so powerless to help someone. That's just the way she is, and you have to deal with it. And you just have to deal with it. I didn't brought up the sub count as a joke, by the way. It's fine. Sometimes I don't even check my sub count for a while. As I mull things over, I noticed a movement out of the corner of my eye. I glance to see who it is, and end up doing a double take. Sure enough, it's Hanako. She walks through the door, just as she would any normal school day, and begins to move towards her seat in her usual silent and humble manner. She looks at me for a moment before blushing and looking away in embarrassment, which makes me realize that I was staring at her. I feel sorry for that, but not doing it is hard after all that's happened. The girl sitting on my desk looks to me, grinning. See? Your sweetheart's back already. What did I tell ya? Be quiet. It might only be meant as a joke, but she hits close enough to make me quite uncomfortable. As we talk, someone calls out Mickey's name from the door. She jumps down from her vantage point on my desk before turning to me. Gotta go, Hisao. Remember to eat something, will ya? Fine, I will. See ya. But content-wise, I feel like I've peaked content-wise, even though Ragnar gets mad at me saying, no, you haven't peaked, you're still growing. I'm like, I don't mind if I peaked or if I'm still growing. My goal is entertainment, not really fame, so I don't care if I peaked or not. She gives a casual salute before jogging over to the door, where a male student in gym uniform is waiting for her. Probably someone from the track and field club. Seizing the opportunity, I get up and make my way to Hanako's desk.
Hello.
Hi Hanako, what's up?
Nothing.
Oreo is trying to get into my room. I'm not letting him in. Maybe talking to her this soon after she came back to class was a bad move. Want to go come with me and grab something to eat from the cafeteria? I'm pretty hungry.
I thought you were studying.
Studying can wait. Turning up for class after all this time must have taken some courage for Hanako. So the least I can do is stay with her. That's just the way she is, and you just have to deal with it. It's the way Mickey, and probably the class as a whole, views Hanako. I can do more for her though. I want to do more for her. Wow, I didn't know Hisao was either a Tumblr person or a Twitter person saying, I can fix her. As we're being distracted by Mickey, I don't think I'm going to get any work done. Come on, let's go. More She hesitates, but eventually gets up and joins me as we begin walking. These may be small steps for her, but the fact that she's finally out of her room of her own volition lifts a large weight off my shoulders. Katawa Shoujo. I mean, Danganronpa could go for 2 hours. It doesn't have to be 3 hours, but a little more. It can't do 1 hour for Danganronpa. My pen busily scrawls onto a slowly filling page of my notebook. My other hand remains on the page of a reference book I borrowed from the library, making my marking my spots as my eyes flicker to and fro. As I work, I occasionally mark red circles or underlines into the photocopied sheets of paper that lie on the table in front of me. Yeah. Wanting a change of scenery from the library and to avoid the distractions of the classroom, I decided to make use of the Shanghai for some quiet study time. It ended up being nice and quiet as expected, and being able to get coffee while I study is a nice bonus. Hanako may have returned to her normal self since she came out of her room, but I've done quite the opposite. Daily routine may have returned to us, but I feel as if I'm a different person. Maybe I'm not. It's only been a few days. After all, since I decided I wanted to try and get out of the rut I found myself after my accident. But I want to change, and I now actively look towards the goal. Or at least, I would like to think I am. Can I let my dog in? Can I let Oreo in? Because he's after scratching for a while, he's crying now. This is impossible. Brute forcing this isn't going to work. Fine. When he cries, I get weak. I'll quickly open the door for him. Come on. Okay. Ugh. I have Doggo on my lap. This isn't. Wait, I already read that. What's more, I have another piece of writing I have to do after this. I fear that's going to be no easier. I look up in mid-surprise to the source of that tentative voice. Yuko stands at the head of the table with a damp towel in hand, clearly having taken the opportunity to clean the tables while no other patrons were around. She looks curious, her eyes as much on my work as on me. What's the matter? I was just wondering, what sort of work are you having so much trouble with? Oh, it's just history. I'm fine with science and math. I'm bad at math, but I was good at history and science. So I'm trying to get my other subjects up to par. Yuko looks positively delighted at this development. I feel like I chose the right answer on some big quiz show. Oh, I think I can help you with that. If you don't mind, of course. I briefly considered turning down the offer in order to not cause her too much trouble, but she looks too excited about this for me to do it. It would be mean to shoot her down like that after such a reaction. If you're willing to help, I'd really appreciate it. She claps her hands together and quickly deposits her towel on the counter before returning and taking a seat across from me. I take my notebook off the top of the textbook and handed it over to her to peruse. So, you're studying the Edo period? Yeah, I'm not really much good at this stuff. At this though. My secret is just play Assassin's Creed. I played Assassin's Creed when I turned I played Assassin's Creed when I turned 13. No, I think it was earlier. And we haven't really got into history yet in high school. But after playing like Assassin's Creed, I suddenly became a history expert and I got A's for history class. But I didn't take history for my senior year because it had nothing to do with my course. Cause in like history is fine and all, but yeah, I didn't really see myself using it. She takes the textbook and reads a few pages from a random section near the middle of it for a bit. But the aura of enthusiasm has been radiating she'd been radiating previously is rapidly seeping away. I'm guessing this isn't the kind of history you were expecting. Unfortunately not. My main area is European history, especially the classic era. Sorry. She looks a bit downcast, but as she carefully closes the book and lays it back down on the table, her face perks up again. Would you like another cup of coffee? Oh yeah, sure. My dog is sleeping on me now. So I don't think I'll be able to move for a while. I reach forward and get my book back as Yuko gets up. Takes my... What do you mean? Like, yeah, Assassin's Creed is fictional, but there are some points of history that are real. Except you take, like, I don't know, Odyssey, I guess. Yuko takes my mug and slowly walks to the counter to make another brew. As usual, she's absolutely silent as she does this. Every ounce of her concentration is focused on not tipping over or dropping the plain white mug. I take the opportunity to lay back and relax for a bit, the hum of the coffee machine filling the otherwise quiet air. I wish I could study like Hasao. I'm kinda lazy. It's small details like that which makes me realize how much I've come to appreciate the little things in life. The quiet and peace of the local town, the discipline and order of Yamaku, the green of the trees that were so rare in my home city, the relaxed pace at which the aging residents live their lives. Only half lazy jobs. Yeah, that is part of my description. Everything feels so certain. It's comforting. I can feel myself beginning to nod off when the sound of the mug coming to rest on the table grabs my attention. Seems like it arrived not a moment too soon. Yuko takes her previous seat once again as I pick myself up and bring a hand around the mug to check its temperature. It's just a little too hot to drink right away, so I blow on it a little. It's a shame you don't like history all that much. I sort of guessed you might be more into science. How so? You've nearly read out the science fiction section of the library already. It isn't hard to notice. You do have a good point there. Well, what can I say? You've pegged me just about right. Just like you sound like you really take an interest in history though. Especially considering how specific you were about it. Do you study in that area or something? Go on digs overseas? She giggles nervously at the thought. I'd like to visit the Mediterranean sometime and see the old architecture and art for myself. But I don't think I could trust myself to handle such delicate things. I'm saving up to formally study it in university, Although I also read up on it whenever I have free time outside of work. So Mickey was right about her university aspirations. Considering how much she fares as a waitress, a more theological path may suit Yuko better. It's nice to hear that she has some ambitions though, considering how hard she works. I nod and take a careful sip of my coffee. By now, it's cooled to the right temperature, so I begin to drink while keeping an eye on the book below, trying to read at the same time. The dog on my lap keeps throwing a tantrum every time I stop petting him. A few minutes pass quietly. Yuko looks out the window and watches the world go by a while. I have my coffee and study. Go by while I have my coffee and study. A moment catches my eye, and I look up to see Yuko smiling and waving to someone outside. Following her gaze, surprisingly reveals the someone to be Hanako. She is looking at us from the side of the street, across from where we are. Her usually all too visible timidity is largely absent, probably thanks to there being so few people around right now. Evidently, she decides Yuko is an angel. Yeah, a lot of people likes her. Some people even ask why didn't she have a dateable option. I mean, she's in her 20s and at least early 20s, because I don't know, she's going for a university. Meanwhile, Hisao's only like 18. Oreo is I'm still not revealing my other dog's name, but Oreo was cancelled by my brother during a Skyrim stream. Evidently, she decides to join us. After a little wave, she gives a quick glance up and down the street and crosses towards the side that the cafe is on. The familiar doorbell to the Shanghai rings out as Hanako enters and makes her way to the table we're sitting at. Oh, we will dox your other dog.
Hello.
Good afternoon. Hi Hanako, what's up?
Nothing. Just going for a walk, since the weather was nice.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I'm glad I decided to study here instead of the library. It's comfortable in here, thanks to that. Better than the sometimes quite stuffy library. I look to Yuko, who nods in response. It's nice. It's just a shame the summer can't last forever. Oh wait, sorry, would you like a drink? Hanako shakes her head. Thankfully, it's enough to calm Yuko down.
How are you going with studying?
Okay-ish. Oh yeah, have you talked with Lilly? I'm interested too. How's she going? Wait, was that Hisao or Hanako? Does this tell me if it's Hisao or Hanako? Oh yeah, it does. Oh, that was Hisao. Never mind.
She's enjoying it.
Wait.
She's enjoying it, I think.
I think? That's all we're going to get out. I think that's all we're going to get out of her. Being around Yuko is tensing her up. Ah, it would be nice to travel to Scotland. Green fields. Just for gore for a second now. Yeah, wait until I start playing Nekopara. Green fields, castles, lovely small towns, men in kilts, interesting history. I can't say I see the appeal of men in kilts myself. it it does seem a little picturesque, like a picturesque place though. As we talk, the jingle of the doorbell rings again. Hanako is startled, noticing Yuko's panicked expression at the prospect that she might leave customers to wait a handful of seconds due to her chatter with us. My dog's on my lap and he's falling asleep, and every time I stop petting him, he throws a tantrum. Iko gives... You haven't. You don't know the other dog's name. This one is Oreo. My brother doxed him. Iko gives a quick bow, then hesitantly skitters over and greets the new customers. An elderly man and his wife. Make the dog play the game for you. He's sleeping now though. I watch her for a bit, craning my head around to get a good view. Hanako is staring at me with her one visible eye. She averts her head in embarrassment as I turn to make eye contact. I was just thinking that it's nice to have ambitions for the future. Yuko was telling me a little about her university aspirations before.
Oh.
It's a shame. If she wasn't so necrotic and overworked, I think she could be a really happy person. As much as I'd like to play host to Hanako and entertain her a bit, I do need to study it as well. To be honest, I don't think the distraction from Yuko helped either. Sorry if I'm a bit distracted. I need to try and get this done, otherwise I'm going to flunk the history exams pretty hard. I'm left running my hand through my hair in frustration. The letter needs doing as well once I get back to my dormitory room. I hope I have more luck. I hope I have more luck with this than this. Damn.
Wait, what with?
Oh, I was going to write to Iwanako. Right now though, this is more important. All I've done is rattle myself. I can't focus on the work in front of me when my stomach is slowly turning at the aspect of actually attempting to write her back after all this time. I force myself to concentrate on the book, picking up my pen once I have a quick sip of coffee. After a few seconds, Hanako stops silently watching me and leans back in her chair, relaxing as much as she ever seems to be able to, looking out the window to pass the time. We stay like this for a long time before leaving for the dormitories together. I'm surprised she had the patience to wait me out. What song is this? I keep forgetting the song names. Iwanako's letter lies on my desk, besides a blank sheet of lined paper and an unused envelope. That the tapping of my pen is the only thing that could be heard this late at night. As I feared, my second task for the day turns out to be just as difficult as the first, if not harder. It's been so many months since we even saw each other. Even so, I can still remember what she looked like, what she sounded like. I mean, you guys were in the same school for like 2 years or so. And what she acted like. By now though, the little details are beginning to slip away. When I first saw her letter, I barely recognized her handwriting at all. Even the pink pen she always used was forgotten until her writing reminded me of it. I wonder why she didn't use it for the letter. She used to write everything with it. Maybe she thinks it's too immature now. I should be thinking about myself and what I want to communicate to her. My mind can't stop concentrating on her though. On the past we shared before it was taken away so suddenly. The bright and slightly garish decoration suits her sense of aesthetics. Picking up the letter to take a closer look at it, I give a long sigh. This is the last link binding me to my past. Iwanaka didn't suddenly cease to exist when she left my hospital room for the last time, but I need this letter to remind me of that. I had all those feelings neatly filed away. I felt as if I didn't need them, that I could just begin life completely anew. It was easier that way. In the end, I suppose that was a rather naive thing to think. Sooner or later, my past would have caught up with me one way or the other. But what am I supposed to say to her? Thank you for bringing me closure? All the letter did was end the sense of closure I've previously felt. Try as I might, I can't write so much as a single word down on the paper in front of me. I can't even think of what exactly I want to say. Putting the letter down on top of the blank sheet, I gathered the materials together and filed them together away in my drawer. The clunk of the desk the clunk of the desk makes as it closes, makes me momentarily tense in frustration before I get to go grab a drink from the vending machine on the first floor. I tried, but I couldn't do it. After all the time that's passed, I still don't know how to deal with Iwanako. Send her the... Standing here, I realize you are just like me, trying to make history. But who's to judge, to right from wrong? That could actually make a pretty good letter. Katawa Shoujo. Puppy! Sleeping on my lap. I wanted to get a snack, but now there's a sleeping dog on my lap. The library, while not humming with activity, is noticeably more busy than usual. Exams are not far away, and that's reflected in the number of students burying their noses in textbooks at the table around us. I've been studying quite a lot in the past few days, just like them, in hopes of doing well. Eat the dog as yours. No! I know his name is Oreo, but I can't eat him. He's a little baby boy. You're a little baby boy, aren't you? Exams. That also, in hopes of doing well in the exams, that also means that Hanako and I have been playing games less, so she's begun studying as well just to fill in the time. Nevertheless, I found myself forsaken by her on this particular day. The textbook in front of me has remained on the same page for some time. It's a hot dog order. Hey yo! For some time. After so much reading on subjects, I couldn't care less about if not for the exams. My mind is beginning to wander. I find my eyes flickering over to where Hanako would usually be, just like on the days she wasn't in class. Her usual beanbag in the corner of the room is conspicuously unoccupied. It was here that we first really met. I tried to start a conversation with her. She got skittish and suddenly bolted from the room altogether. I probably couldn't smile about it, but has but it was kind of amusing in hindsight. Nowadays, it's more and more difficult to imagine her doing such a thing. Even with Lilly gone, she's been doing well. She's been doing well now that she's come out of her room. I want to talk to her, or at least play another game of chess. I'm tired of studying, and it's been a few days since we've really done anything together. The question of where to find Hanako isn't particularly difficult. If she's not in the library, chances are she's either in the tea room or for some peace and quiet, or in her dormitory room. I decided to check in that order. I packed up my books and make my way out of the library. I stretch and give a loud groan as I walk down the hallway. Studying may be frustrating at times, but with the progress I feel I've made, there is some sense of pride in getting it done. It's a good feeling. There isn't a sound to be heard from inside as I stand in front of the door to Hanako's room. I guess that isn't very indicative of whether she's inside or not, given how quiet she really is. The thrilling gameplay of study. Danganronpa claims to be a high school game. No one really studies. Katawa Shoujo claims to be a dating game. Everyone studies. Aw, you moved away, puppy. Still, she wasn't in the tea room. I tried knocking lightly to make my presence known, but I'm surprised when I find the door is unlocked and yielding at my touch. Wait, did I get the neutral ending? Did I make a wrong decision somewhere? With a small crack, the door opens. It looks like my suspicions were correct. Hanako is indeed here. His pass. She's sitting at the table with an open book in front of her, but she pays it no head. Hanako threw a flashbang in her face. As she keeps looking out the window, she looks utterly oblivious to my presence. With my head thoughtfully resting on her hand, thoughtfully resting on her hand, she looks calm and collected. It's a shame she can't look like this more often. Smiling a little, I walk up to the table and softly speak to her. Good evening, Hanako. Hanako's head turns a little to see me, and she's still only half there. I put a hand on the table and lower my head to better look at her face. I don't know, we'll see. Mildly curious about what mood she's in. What's up? She gasps a little, finally acknowledging my presence in the room for the first time. Hanako's blushing really heavily. Her mouth is open just a little, as if paused mid-sentence. Most striking, though, is what she's doing. That's very close. We'll find out at the end. So there's a possibility this could actually be the finale of Katawa Shoujo. And next week I might be playing Nekopara. She's looking directly at me. Her eyes are pinned on my own. Far from such a close distance that I can almost see my reflection in them. Plot twist, Hanako is blind as Lilly. Hello, Ragnar. How are ya? Did you miss me? Darn that chocolate. I still want to get more chocolate marshmallow though, even though it's stuck in my throat. They don't turn away, nor move at all.
They're absolutely still, just looking into mine. They're dark, and they give her an almost analytical air. Even when reading on subjects she has no in even reading on subjects she has no interest in, she would appear to be wrapped in her work to a casual observer. I'm tired though and a little nervous about v- wait, oh, yeah, how there's like 300 V2 independent VTubers are meeting up. I'm not going because I don't know. I need my rest, I guess. Over 900, yeah. I think this is the part where you. I think this is the part. Like I said, this is going to be the day you surpass me in. This is going to be the day you surpass me in followers. Like I said, I expect you to surpass me. In fact, I expected you to surpass me like last month. she absorbs she absorbs information very well, and even now I can feel that. Plot twist: she sucks out the souls of people to heal her burns, and you're her latest victim. I feel like I'm seeing something behind those eyes that I never saw before. Plot twist: his house gay. I don't know what it is though. Hanako? Her lips move just a little, slightly mouthing something. She looks like she's on the verge of saying something, but wouldn't say it. Like, Ragnar asked if I was gonna go. I'm like, nah, probably not. But that's the way Hanako always is. On the verge of saying something, but never quite doing it. As I look intently into her eyes, I realize something. Everyone has their own thoughts, things they want to say, their own worldview. But I can't work out what Hanako wants to say, and I can't work out what she's thinking. I never have been able to. That you are just like. It's frustrating. It feels like I don't know. I don't know her at all, despite all the time we've spent together. So? Did you stop because no one was singing along to you? It's only now that I find myself blushing. I have been looking directly into Hanako's eyes from such a short distance, with absolutely no regard for her, and she's been looking into mine without shirking away. I'm sorry, Raze. Everyone's just busy. I quickly look away. Well, I quickly look away while covering my face with my hand. Hanako does just the same. Another awkward silence reigns. I hate these. Why did I get love from hate? I hate these. At first, I accept them as just make your dog do your Hanako. I don't think my dog can do that. It's just being a fact of life around Hanako. But now, all they feel like is an affirmation of how little we're able to communicate. Some anger. Hama Mikano. Really, Ragnar? Some anger makes its way in the complex mixture of emotions I'm I'm experiencing right now. Also, I saw what you sent me. I haven't accepted it yet. I want to bridge the gap between us. Friends shouldn't have to tiptoe around each other like this. I speak before I can argue myself at what I'm doing. Do it, accept. Mikako. I was thinking Hanakan. Hanakan. That sounds like you're saying um octagon. But I think I like Hami Kan Hamikano better. I speak before I can argue myself out of what I'm going to do. My scarring isn't as bad as Hanako's, but I can't possibly compare my life to hers, and I want to show her that she's not alone. I do not understand Jaws. Please insert courtesy. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hanakan sounds like Otacon. Doing this is such a blunt matter. Might be the only way to get my point across. Oh, you got that from Twitter, right? Because I saw the same joke on Twitter. Hanako, I want to show you something. I take a deep breath to prepare myself. This could backfire badly, but I feel as if we've come close enough for this to be okay. I'm not going to strip naked or anything weird. I'm just going to take off my shirt. Hanako's eyes grow the size of saucers. Her face is an amusing mixture of curiosity and nervousness. As she stands, it yeah, it helps take the edge off my mind, my own nervousness at doing this in front of another person. Slowly, yes, that face.
Isao, what are you doing?
Slowly, with my entire body feeling tense, I unknot my tie and begin to lose the first of the buttons. I'm trying to mentally block out Hanako to make this easier, but it's not really working. As I work my way down, I expect to hear some form of protest from her. She remains silent though, which just makes this feel even stranger. Careless whisper sex. It doesn't voice. It's so bad. Oh my gosh. Don't worry.
Isao, I don't drink Monster, no.
Here's something. I think Hisao can't drink energy drinks. Cause Hisao, you're such a rookie. You're supposed to make Cause I have a friend in real life. He has a heart problem. He also had an open heart surgery, and he told me he can't have energy drinks. It was weird when we were hanging out in the city. Like we don't really hang out, just the two of us. Me and my friend with the heart problem. I'm just gonna call him N. N and I tends to hang out with other friends when we go to the city. But when I went to the city with him alone, he knows I have really, really, really bad eyesight. So while I was making sure I don't make his heart explode, in the same time he was making sure I don't run into anything. Just call him Sal. No, I'm calling him N. My friend N. He was making sure I don't bump into anything because I have really poor eyesight, and I was making sure I didn't make him panic because I was running into things. With the last of my shirt unbuttoned, it's for the better. I have a caffeine resistance. You're you're friends with a. I think so. With the loss of my shirt unbuttoned, I take a breath and look at her. Hanako's gaze is fixed on my scarring, as expected. And once I nod to say it's okay, she steps forward and tentatively places her hand on the vertical line running down my chest. Smash now. The scarring on her hand, a pattern of damaged skin across its surface, contrasts with the single uniform line that makes up mine. Her hand isn't trembling at all, unlike what I predicted. Smash, Hisao, smash.
This is...
Don't forget, Fireworld. Wait, where is it? Don't forget Fireworld. Wait, not Firewall. Don't forget Spiraled. It's still off. Man, those are just... Darn it. Ragnar, I got confused. I confused Firewall for Spiraled. Don't forget, this is still on. Hello, how are ya? No.
This is...
The scarring from the surgery that followed my heart attack. The surgeons had to open my chest to operate on my heart.
I never knew.
Hanako's words are calmer and softer than usual. The soft feeling of her fingers moving from my scar to my breast makes me hesitate a little before continuing on. I'm surprised Joss didn't get inside. You're the first person to see this since I left the hospital.
But why are you showing this to me?
I wanted to prove to myself that I can do this, that I could accept my past and move on. I wanted to Is this Hanako? Let my heart speak. Irish redeems were a thing in YouTube for a bonk sound. Too bad I'm not a Twitch streamer. And move on. I wanted to show that to you as well. She nods from her reaction. From her reaction, she seems to know how difficult this is for me. More than anything, the scar represents a visual reminder of my condition. A reminder that I'm not normal anymore. I don't know, I'll probably get confused. Seeing how easily I forgore and how easily I get lost in video games that involves roaming. Why am I the one getting bonked? I didn't do anything. I didn't do anything. Why am I the one getting bonked? That's something that until now I had tried my hardest to ignore. I know I'm half fiend, but come on. You're responsible for our actions. As the minutes tick by, Hanako's gaze lingers. Her eyes look less focused on my scarring than before. The situation feels a bit different than it previously did, and it makes me feel slightly uncomfortable. Let your chat control. We're a collective conscious. That's your theme. That's the chat's theme. Her hand retreats, and I draw my shirt closed, and I begin to button it up. Her blushing face slightly returns to its typical sense and timid state as she looks away. The room is completely silent as I fix my shirt and tie. Feeling off after such an unexpected intimate moment. So, I guess you're not the only one that's scarred. Hanako smiles a little at the joke, thankfully lightening the atmosphere a bit.
Thank you, Hisao. I think I understand.
He doesn't know what he's doing. I'll look that up after the stream.
I give a long sigh of relief. I really didn't know how she'd take it, but I'm glad something seems to have worked out as well. Worked out as I hoped. Oh, it's the Kasuber. Yeah, I've heard that before. Hanako's smile only proves that further.
Oh, since we're going to the bonking, you know how I can do my ara voice? A friend of mine suggests I open up an OnlyFans for a voice-only OnlyFans for my ara voice, but I told him that's not very idol-like. So I don't know. But my friend was like, but you can make money out of it, you know? If you just speak. Ragnar and I have seen the Not Safe for Work. Hisao, I'm not gonna go further into that.
I'm following the path I want to follow now. And what Hanako wants to do is to find her own. Wait, needs to do is find her own.
You're better off selling VTuber or something. No, not just me and Ragnar. Me, Ragnar, and Hiba. That was a long time ago, though. It was like last year. Wait, was it last year or was it early this year?
It's something I can't help her with. What Hanako needs to do is to find her own.
I think it's obvious.
It's something I can't help her with, and it's something that she needs to overcome. And it's something that she needs to overcome her past in order to do.
Ragnar answered it for me. Niels didn't invite us. I think around that time I only had like 80 subscribers.
Hanako checks her watch. What watch? It's getting late by now.
Hisao?
Yeah, I'd better get going. I'll be thankful for some sleep. It's been a long day after all. Good night, Hanako.
Good night.
I make my way out of her room and into the hallway, remaining silent as I do so.
I was first here at the last. So before or after? I think so, yeah. And I met Firewall in I met Firewall during Danganronpa 1. And I met Spiraled during Fallout 3. And I think I met Spiraled while I was getting lost in a building.
I think both of us have gone through a few emotions today.
I think so too.
Katawa Shoujo.
I'm surprised you guys stayed, because normally when I meet up with people, they stay for a while. Like for some streams, then they vanish. Like they don't vanish entirely. I could see them watching my stream, but they just don't talk anymore. You're good. That's my trait.
The heat of the summertime sun beats down on my sweating brow, dabbing with a handkerchief. With a handkerchief doesn't help too much in making me any more comfortable.
And that's the boots. And that's boots. You're really calling me out on boots?
Giving up on the idea of getting more done today,
I stop and lean against one of the overpass fences, resting my bag on the ground. The stores in the town below Yamaku are well stocked and offer enough variety for me to get by. But at least an occasional shopping trip to the city is something that really can't be avoided.
So, I'm dabbing on the haters.
I met you on the 23rd of February, because Fallout New Vegas is a sure way to attract me to a stream. I've been here a few times now. The city's layout is getting more familiar, and the nostalgia from its atmosphere is beginning to wear off. Hanako dabbing emote when I realized that I've begun to wheeze. I sound like an old man that's overexerted himself, and having to connect that to the fact that I'm the source is a bit disturbing. And we met by accident. But that's a story for another time. I put a hand on my chest and concentrate for a bit to make sure I haven't gone far enough to cause any further problems. I've also seen that. Thankfully, my heart is acting normal. There's no dull pain, and the beating is regular, albeit fast-paced, as I recover from overdoing things in this kind of heat. When I met Ragnar, I only had 20 subscribers. And that was like a year ago. I hate my body. It's frustrating to be held back. Even more to be held back by the fear of my life being ended when doing something as simple as walking around the city for a little while. As I ponder on my health.
Sal, I'm getting bullied on Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Too. They're telling me to go make them a sandwich.
As I ponder on my health, I feel my pocket vibrating. I'm not making fun of you, Jaws. I'm just messing. Messing with. I don't know. What were you doing? I didn't notice, actually. Sorry. By the time my phone began to ring, my hand is already fishing for it. A glance at the screen shows a caller number I don't recognize. Strange. Boots. Oh, okay. It's fine. I was also messing around too. I don't mind if you call me out for Boots. But my number one love in the world is chocolate. I did? Did I forget something? Shrugging, I pressed the button to answer the call and bring the phone up to my ear. Hello? Hisao Nakai speaking. The sound of a couple of short breaths can be heard, but no actual speech is forthcoming. You love chocolate? Yeah, I love chocolate. I could eat 20 bars in one sitting. And you leave me no choice.
Sal?
It's Hanako. Her voice is really easy to place, even if I've never heard it over a phone before. Wow, she forgot. That's It is my duty to destroy those who would eat chocolate. I must protect them all. What? I want chocolate. Hanako, sorry, I wasn't expecting you to call. What's up?
If you're not busy, I was wondering if you would like, I would like to...
Jaws is bound. Am I really? That hurts my throat. Meet up?
Yes, I mean,
That's fine. The obsession. There's not to say I'm the symbiote, and I'm just using this as a host body. Have you noticed that my kimono, my hoodie, and what my older form wears are all black? She sounds really wound out about this. I can hear muffled voices in the background, and it's about time for the afternoon tea. So I guess she'll want me to meet her at the Shanghai or something. You had a blue bow in all. Are you still talking about me bringing my bow back? Does the chocolate addiction come from the fiend or the dragon side? I think it's an odd hybrid thing. That sounds fine. Are you at the Shanghai?
I'm in the city.
Hanako's here alone? That's a surprise. It's a little wonder she's like this. Is she surrounded by people and entirely by herself? It was a cute boat, alright. You want me to bring back the bow? That works out well. I'm just wandering around there now. Where are you? Hanako manages to stammer out the street name, address, and some basic directions to where she is. Luckily, it's not too far, so I agreed to see her soon before hanging up. If this is still going for 3 hours, I'm gonna end the stream, but I'm also gonna buy Nekopara, because next week, Katawa Shoujo will end early. He is not cultured. Hisao? I look up to the sky. The summer heat is beating down. This is the first time Hanako's asked for us to do something together beyond a simple board game. And the first time, at least, since I've known her, that she'd come to the city all by herself. Maybe this means that Lilly was right. Isn't this the same cafe? Isn't this the same cafe with Lilly? By the time I managed to stagger up to the cafe where Hanako is, I started to wheeze again. I'm sweating. Yes, it is. I'm sweating so much that I feel like a melting popsicle, and I can barely hold the bag in my hand. I need to sit down, badly. The tables outside are all occupied by busily chatting couples and girls gossiping between themselves. Wait. Between themselves. Sorry, I had to go check on my dog to see what he was doing. He's sleeping on a pillow. The contrast between the different age groups and fashions of the people here and the people from the town near Yamako is striking. I scan over the people sitting at the tables, but I can't see Hanako. She did say she was sitting outside, so I must just be missing her. Not difficult, given how small she usually tries to make her presence. I look around again, more slowly this time, taking particular care if I can see Hanako's hat. It's pretty distinctive. I have the same hat, it's not that distinctive. And I'd be very surprised if she wasn't wearing it. There she is. Sure enough, her head is kept low, and the table she's sitting at is right beside the building, in an inconspicuous corner. I walk up to where she is and make sure that I have her attention before I sit, lest I give her a scare. She notices me and gives a small wave as I arrive at her table. They had a budget for one outfit, alright?
Are you feeling okay?
I try my best to laugh it off, but doing so just makes me more out of breath. Not very fit these days, don't mind me. Hanako nods, but still looks a bit put off. You want me to sing that? I'm not gonna sing that. Hey, Jaws, are we getting a collective Christmas cover for December? I have another idea for Christmas. It's not that though. Now that I can get a good look at her face, something about her seems a bit different. I'm not sure if my eyes are playing tricks on me, but she looks kind of nice. Savage. Maybe the Christmas after. If I'm still around, that is. Because life can throw curveballs at you. Like, yesterday I didn't expect to not stream, but life was like, no, you're busy today. But for now, I plan to be around for a very long time. Like, a very long time. Her eyes move upwards to look at me, before quickly flicking down again. I begin to think this is going to be a rather quiet meeting, but a waitress thankfully arrives and sets a cup of tea in front of Hanako. Hanako almost automatically turns slightly away and lowers the side of her head. It's an amazing practiced motion that does a good job of its intended purpose, hiding her scars from someone who's leaning in close. If in that year you get hired by a VTuber company, I'm gonna pastor your Jaws, I will be here for a long time. Also, Jaws, I'm here next year. That's my plan. Like, yeah, I do plan to join a VTuber company, but yeah. So either if I'm not here next year, it's either I'm in a VTubing company, I just decided to pack my bags and quit, or I found a job and I became too busy to stream. Those are the three. Three reasons why if I disappear next year. But if I'm still here next year, then none of those happen. So you shouldn't worry. Hiding her scars from someone who's leaning in close. Her right arm is still laying on the table though, with the scarring on the back of her hand quite visible. It catches the waitress's attention and I move to quickly distract her. Excuse me, may I place an order? The waitress nods and gives me a couple of seconds to look at the menu. I find the idea of just packing and calling it quits to be kind of impossible. I don't see that happening, lol. Yeah, I'm too motivated. That's what I've been told. Could I get a mango smoothie, please? She gives a nod before almost enthusiastically bouncing inside. Everything is so different in the city, in more ways than one. The other option of me finding a day job and becoming too busy, that can actually happen. But if I do find a day job, I'm not gonna fully quit. I'm only going to be streaming occasionally. Rather than 4 days, I'll probably be like, I don't know, once a month, twice a month. Depends on the job, really. The VTuber company, that's a half-half. Like, if I somehow join a VTubing company, because right now I'm still a tiny baby VTuber who's only been streaming for a year. So it's almost impossible that will happen next year. In the same time I do disappear, but in the same time I don't. It's hard to explain. And also it depends on the company. Some companies allows people to keep their some VTubing companies allows people to keep their avatars and their names. So yeah, it really depends on the company. Hanako looks back up towards me and adjusts her hat a little. If she noticed the waitress staring at her scars, she doesn't show it.
Not coffee?
I think I'd die from this heat if I had something like coffee right now. Iced coffee? His head built like a box of capping. You mean her hat? I mean, there's really no Captain Crunch in Australia unless you go to like Costco or an American sweet store, so I don't really know what Captain Crunch... I can't remember what Captain Crunch looks like. Yours is too stubborn to quit. Yeah. To the point that my body gave me headaches every time I got motivated. Resting my head on my hand, I look to my quiet companion. She seems taken aback. A very unexpected reaction to my lame joke. An unwelcome emotion bottles up inside me as I realize her reason why. Unlike most in Yamaku, indeed, unlike anyone there that I'm aware of, my condition goes beyond limiting the activities I can do. Oh yeah, that's right. His house says he doesn't have to do gym class. Or to be more precise, reaching those limits could have much more grave consequences. Thankfully, it's something that's very rarely come up since I entered Yamaku. I thought that it was so rare that Hanako and Lilly might not be at all. Wait, that Hanako and Lilly might not think of it at all. It turns out that I was wrong. Hanako silently drinks her tea while I wait for my drink, confirming that it's still the right temperature, with a small sip before she begins in earnest. I feel guilty for being the cause of an uncomfortable silence, since in the past I've been kind of hard on Hanako for those. Eventually, the same waitress as before bounces up, handing me my drink. I gather change from my pocket and drop it into her waiting hand. Before she goes off to attend to another customer, my eyes linger on her as she walks away.
Do you think she looks pretty?
Hanako is following my gaze, her eyes taking in the waitress that served us. I can feel my blood slowly going into my cheeks as I rest my smoothie back on the table. Nah, can't really say that I'm really into that look. She just kinda looked like an old friend I knew before my heart attack.
Did you have many friends?
I think that sounded off.
Did you have many friends?
I said any friends. It's like Hanako was saying you don't have any friends. I had a few in my previous school, though I wouldn't say a lot. The four of us just hung around together after school and stuff.
Do you still talk to them?
I shake my head. No, we gradually lost contact while I was stuck in hospital. Then they're not your friends, if you're just lost in contact with them.
You're not saddened by that? Or angry?
Hanako looks generally surprised. I guess it's the right reaction. Well, life did move on. Life did move on for them while I was stuck in the ward. I was pretty sore about it at the time, but now it's just a bunch of nice memories. Besides, once I came to Yamaku, I found new friends as well. That's quite a whitewash of what my feelings were back then. I went through some dark times during my stay at the hospital, and I'm really glad that Hanako and Lilly were around to help me after I left. Hanako blushes as we both get down to enjoying our drinks. She seems to have calmed down since I arrived, and I've started to feel a little better now that I've had the chance to rest a bit. So this is getting to be a nice outing already. Even if she's calmer than before. Even if she's calmer than before though, she's still fidgeting a bit. She runs her hand down one of her bangs as I try to think of something to say. That's right, I was going to ask. Hanako tilts her head quizzically. I didn't know you had a mobile phone. How did you get my number?
Lily gave it to me.
But in Lily's route, Hasao gives Hanako his number. I should have guessed. You know, you could have just asked me. I'd have given it to you. Want to exchange email addresses? Hanako nods, setting down her drink and fishing out her phone from her pocket as I do the same. It's surprisingly the same model as mine. Pink though. Nice phone. She looks to me with a curious expression before noticing my phone and giggling. It's one of the very few times I've seen Hanako let her guard down enough to do such a thing.
I didn't pick it out for myself though.
Oh?
It was a present from Lily. I never really needed a phone, and I can't afford one. She bought me one for Christmas. Well, saying that we could use it to keep in touch.
Because she didn't really have any friends. My sister had that exact same phone or something similar. My mom had a similar phone to that, but it was silver. So like, my mom had like a Hisao phone then. Flip phones are kind of back in fashion because of what Samsung did. They see each other basically every day anyway, both in and out of school. Then again, Lily does have her class representative duties and other friends that she talks with. It's probably for situations like this, too, when she's gone away for a while. Dragons know how to use flip phones? Dragons can shift between human form and dragon form. Meanwhile, fiends, aka succubi/incubi, can switch between gender, race, technically anything. Yeah, that's why they were fun to play with. You just flip them. But you just like when the phones first came around, they were like very confusing to use, and then they became smaller and smaller. I still remember being so surprised when they managed to fit a camera into a phone. Lily's a very special person to you, isn't she?
She is. I love her very much.
Hanako looks down and smiles as she thinks of her. None of my friendships were as deep as theirs, and I have to admit to myself that I'm a little jealous of their relationship. Oh, so because I'm not doing the bad ending for Hanako. Fun fact, in the bad ending, Hanako says she hates Hisao and she hates Lily. But it was probably her depression and anxiety speaking. Did Lily just knock us? We tell each other our email addresses and thumb them into our respective phones, and I get Hanako's number from earlier, and I put it in my contacts list. I mean, this game was made in 2010, so touchscreen phones were just coming around. He probably doesn't have one. Hisao.
Done. That makes 3 now.
3?
Lily, Akira, and you.
Ah, Akira. She's an interesting person, isn't she?
She is. She's also really nice though. Her suit makes her look a bit cool.
I'm a little surprised you know each other well. With what her job taking up so much of her time. Hanako looks down a little and takes another sip of her drink. If I wasn't looking intently at her face, I'd miss the small smile perched on it. I guess when she knows so few people, those she knows must mean a lot to her.
How many do you have?
Me? About 9 or 10. I hesitate to go into them for fear of rubbing in the fact that Hanako doesn't have parents, or apparently even close relatives. 2 of those are Shizune and Misha too, which is another can of worms. I imagine that Lilly would have more than both of us put together, probably. Hanako gives a childish giggle. I can't help smiling. It's a good feeling that she's gotten this comfortable around me. At times like this, I feel like I'm getting close to talking to her true self. Do you mind if I ask something that I've been wondering? Hanako shakes her head as she takes a sip of her tea, finishing it off. You don't seem very jealous of Lilly having lots of friends. Don't you want to make some more friends yourself? Or get to know some of hers?
I'm not jealous. I don't like people, so I don't mind not having many friends.
That's really not the answer that I was expecting. She doesn't look fearful or sad as she says this, but rather quite serious. Hanako rubs her arm awkwardly, having taken my quietness as a reason to continue. I'm not really sure that I should say what I should say, so I ended up simply giving her my attention in silence.
In middle school, I got bullied a lot. I was called names and got excluded from work groups and sports teams. There were worse things too.
Hanako is just like Mikan. Except Mikan wants attention, Hanako doesn't want attention. So it's kind of fitting I gave her this voice. Yeah, they nicknamed Hanako Mikan. And that's what made you not like other people? She shakes her head.
That was elementary school.
Meaning this was before her burns. I think it's before her burns. I feel bad. No, I think I think she got her burns when she was really young. What did you miss, Raze? We found out that Hanako was bullied a lot at school, just like Mikan. If Hanako is just like Mikan, and you're like Mikan, then that means... Are you saying I'm just like Hanako? I mean, half of my body is... You know what, never mind. I feel bad for bringing this up now. Adults have enough problems dealing with Hanako's scarring. Children would be all the worse. Kids are cruel, Hanako. I had assumed that the way she tried to make her presence not felt was just to avoid people staring at her, or because she was afraid of them, certainly not because she generally didn't want to interact with them in the first place as well. Hanaja-kan. I mean, in high school I did spend a lot of my time in the library by myself. That's a Lego Batman reference. What do you call it? Yeah, back in high school, actually even primary school, I spent most of my lunch in the library just reading. I noticed the condensation of my neglected smoothie forming a little puddle around the bottom of the cup. So I take the opportunity to finish it off. As I drink, she begins to fiddle with her phone. It looks like she's remembered the people around her again and begin to tense up. It wasn't exactly a cheap phone. I had to save up for a while to afford one when I got mine. You spend time sleeping at school. In high school, the girls bullied me by saying, "Sure, Spirons, sure." If Lily went to a private school, she probably wouldn't have too much trouble getting one for a present, though. Yeah, Lily. It's been hinted at that Lily's family is pretty rich. Watching her fiddle gives me an idea. Hey, Hanako, wait for me. I'll be right back. I put the now empty cup down, slid my phone into my pocket, and begin to move off. Yeah, that's a compliment. I'm sorry. In high school, I had like a bunch of friends, but people thought I was goth. Thankfully, sitting around while talking to... Wait. Began to move off, carefully stepping around the bag I placed between my feet. It's because, if you saw that, picture I sent, okay, I don't want to read that. Without showing a picture of myself, my hair is pretty long. I have dark hair, and I tend to cover my right eye with some hair. So people thought I was goth, and it didn't help that I wasn't talkative. I was mostly to myself at school unless I was out with friends. If you spoke to my friends would be like, yeah, Jaws is not a goth because Jaws is very energetic and fun to be around. But people who don't know me, I didn't really talk to them. Like, if I'm not bothering them, then they're not gonna bother me. So I was kind of quiet to the outsider, in the outsider perspective. And like I said, it didn't help that I had dark hair and my hair covers one of my eyes. And I tend to wear dark clothing. So people thought I was goth. Thankfully, sitting around a while talking to Hanako has helped me feel a little better than before. A lot better than before.
Wait, what? Where are you going?
Just stay here. I'll be back in a bit. As much as I'd have liked to have jogged back, I know full well that I couldn't. I end up walking back to the cafe, a little blue bag in my hand. Hanako notices me quickly, looking about as confused as she did when I left. I deposit the diminutive bag in front of her and sit back down.
Is this?
As long as it ain't emo. No. The thing is, I'm not goth, and I'm not emo. Because if I was, why would I be a VTuber wanting people's happiness? If I was goth/emo, I'll be like, I don't care about the world. Why should I care about other people's happiness? I'm a weeb. People thought I was a gamer because I look kinda emo, and it's for you. You can open it. But even though people thought I was goth, I did a lot of things at school that people saw me as a kind, friendly person. So yeah, even though people thought I was goth, they thought I was no one really hated me because they were like, yeah, Jaws is a kind person. South Park has not taught you the difference, Jaws. You need to watch that art. I haven't watched South Park in a long time.
But...
Go on. She looks very unsure about it, but eventually gives in. slowly opens the bag and picks its contents out. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it. A silver chain phone strap dangles from her fingers, and ending in a delicate flower. It isn't exactly a masterwork of jewelry, but it's about as much as I could afford. It's fitting that it's a flower because I told you what Hanako translates to in Japanese. Hanako's eyes light up when she looks at it. It's the kind of it's the kind of reaction I was hoping for. Chain, oh no. The summer sun's light glints off the silver as it twists to and fro a little. It's not too ostentatious, but it looks a little charming. I think it suits her well. Hanako lowers the phone strap to the table and looks to me once more.
But it's not Christmas or my birthday.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. I just thought it would be nice to have something to decorate your phone with.
But I don't have anything to give you. I don't have anything to give to you.
Oh wow. This sounds like an interaction that Ragnar and I had. At school, I would either read manga on my phone, sleep, or if I was in my photography class, I would say offensive Kenji level stuff to piss off the liberal kids that were there with me. I told you, it's fine. Friends can give things to each other like this sometimes, right?
Friends.
This feels like an interaction that Ragnar and I had. Hanako lowers her face so that I can't see her expression. She eventually nods before taking her phone and funneling with the strap to attach it properly. It sounds like every interaction I had with my friends. Like, yeah, as you guys know, I'm from Australia. We have school uniforms. Friends. He really doesn't know what... It's Hisao. And I tend to wear, like, black coats, and sometimes the coats have, like... My coats tend to have fur on the hoods. And one time, one of the people went up to me and was like, Jaws, I like your outfit. It looks very Wicked Witch-like. And apparently a lot of people thought I had good fashion, when in reality I was just wearing black clothes, sometimes with fur. They're fake fur, obviously, because real fur makes me... I don't know, real fur makes me feel weird. You guys are bouncing off each other. Green Lantern. Wait, is it Green Lantern? One is Green Lantern. The other one I don't recognize. I haven't read comics in like months. She looks to me and smiles as she holds up her phone, now adorned with a little flower.
Thank you, Hisao.
Her smile proves infectious. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice a couple getting up and leaving. That reminds me that the bus back to Yamaku... The bus back to the town below Yamaku will be coming soon. I said, oh, Blue Lantern, Hope. Which lantern do you think I'll be? I guess I'd better be going. I want to catch the next bus to town. You coming as well?
Yes.
You'd be blue, Jaws? I can kind of see it, but I'm not sure if I'm hopeful enough. I will fight anyone who argues with that. She hastily nods before carefully putting her phone back into her pocket. and getting out of her chair. I do the same and pick up the bag I'd left beside me on the way out. Damn fire. Spiral got beaten. We walk side by side as we make our way to the bus stop, exchanging no words between us. Hanako is firmly locked ahead of her. Hanako's gaze is firmly locked ahead of her, though she looks very happy with herself. And there's a Deadpool corpse. I'm not sure what I should say to her, but I'm also not sure that I need to say anything. The fact that Hanako is happy, and happy because of me, is enough to make the load of my arm feel light as a feather. I have a question. Okay, Katawa Sojo. I have a question. If Makoto from Danganronpa was in the DC universe, would he be a Blue Lantern? Because he is the ultimate hope. I gave up on comics a while back, so I don't know what's... some are still pretty interesting. I mean, I'm still keeping up with manga. I haven't watched anime in a long time, though. Fun fact, the red is the censored version of the feel that spiral. Finally reaching the classroom after the usual walk to the from the dormitories. I step inside. My eyes immediately turn to the third seat from the left in the back row. Hanako's seat. But still, Deadpool making his own lantern corners is great. I mean, Ryan Reynolds. It's empty, and after glancing around the classroom, it looks like she isn't here yet. The two girls from the newspaper club are here in the two seats on the left of Hanako's, as are Shizune and Misha, but that's about it. We exchange morning greetings before I take my seat. I have to admit that this is a bit of a relief. This gives me at least a few more minutes to think. Why hasn't Hisao confessed to Hanako yet? He confessed to Lilly almost immediately. But we're almost at the end of Hanako's out and he hasn't even confessed to her. Not that I haven't been doing so previously. Ever since our trip to town, Hanako's been on my mind. Well, have you guys heard at the new... Even if the movie was cancelled. The DC movies have a lot of potential. But the thing is, I don't know what their directors are doing. Like, they have the classic superheroes of the world. Superman, Batman, Green Lantern, Aquaman, Wonder Woman, etc, etc. But their directors are crazy. I still don't know what to make of my relationship to Hanako. I like her. I can admit that much to myself. I want to protect her and shield her from the pain she feels. I really don't think my feelings are just those of friendship anymore. I mean, the Batman was pretty good. And Wonder Woman was good until Wonder Woman 2 ruined it. Aquaman was good too. But still, I feel like I don't even know her. Isn't it the greedy guys? If I made a move on her, how would she take it? Is she in an emotional state that allows her to make a reasonable decision about our relationship? How would she cope with anything that might happen afterwards? The thing is, Marvel worked. Marvel worked because they're what do you call it? The lean limit. Marvel worked because their directors communicated with each other. Meanwhile, DC kinda wanted to be more independent with their directors. I mean, they still had some communication, but in most cases, the DC directors didn't have... the DC directors didn't really communicate with each other. Meanwhile, Marvel directors always communicated with each other. That's what DC is missing, communication. There's also the possibility that I'm completely misinterpreting Hanako. Not a difficult thing to do with someone whose social skills seems to be undeveloped. The sound of footsteps come up to the door, making me peek up. It ends up just being Miki. When they decided to create there was a huge split. Hey, Spider-Man No Way Home was pretty good. It made me feel like a child again. One of the reasons why I became a VTuber is because I aspired to be like Spider-Man. Like, Spider-Man helped people. With great power comes great responsibility. I wanted to do that. So Spider-Man was one of my inspirations to be a VTuber. I know that sounds crazy, but yeah. So Spider-Man has a special place in my heart. Whether it's the original trilogy, the Andrew Garfield duology, or the MCU Spider-Man, Spider-Man has always been Spider-Man to me. Even if there's comments that Tom Holland's Spider-Man was more of an Iron Man Jr., Spider-Man No Way Home proves that he can be Spider-Man. She barely acknowledges my existence when I accidentally make eye contact with her. I'm about to look away, but another person comes in long before she takes her seat. I feel myself freeze as I see Hanako enter. This isn't a rational reaction, but I have no idea about how I should act or what should I say to her. For a moment, our eyes meet. That's how we went from Batman vs Superman with somewhat goofy tone. Friendly neighborhood VTuber Jaws. That's why, in a sense, I don't want to be famous. Like, I know fame is a side effect of wanting to make as much people as possible happy. Like, it's a side effect. That's not the thing I'm going for. What I'm going for is to make people happy. So, because I know there's a lot of darkness in the world, and there are people who needs happiness. They need someone to make them smile. And that's what I wanted to do. That's what Spider-Man inspired me to do as Jaws. Weird, right? And then, just as quickly, she looks away and moves to her seat without saying a single word. Spider Jaws knows whatever a Jaws can. Give some hope. Give some hope. With great power comes big response. It's fine. Like, as you know, I made my own model, right? It's just when I was making my own model, I couldn't stop thinking about that scene in Tobey Maguire's movie when he was designing his suit. That's what I was thinking while I was making my model. As is now usual for the period following classes, my face is buried deep in a book that I find thoroughly uninteresting. Studying is not something that comes naturally to me. I didn't study a lot before coming to Yamaku, and until now I've largely managed to coast through on talent alone. It's frustrating, and I can't do that anymore. It looks like Hisao's frustration is getting bigger. I'm gonna put some dirt in your eye. Judging by the faces of the other students in the library, I don't think I'm alone in my distaste for this. Misery loves company, I suppose. I decided to spend lunchtime with Hanako, since we haven't had lunch together for a while now. I may as well have spent the time studying though. aside from the pathetically small snippets of small talk. Yeah, the stream refreshed for some reason. It's back on now. There was barely a word between us. Living on the streaming. No, that was the stream. And the thing was, according to my internet, because I could see my internet didn't drop out, so I think it was a YouTube thing. Yeah, I think it was a YouTube thing. Why does she keep doing this to me? I just want to protect her and to be there for her. But every time I feel like we're coming down, we end up further away. More like a YouTube moment.
Are you busy?
Hanako! My head wraps around in surprise, causing her to retreat in fright. That was bad timing. If I hadn't been thinking about her at that very moment, I probably wouldn't have been so nearly startled. Nearly so startled. Sorry, you just startled me. I find myself staring at her longer than I should, so I go back to the text lying on the table in front of me. I feel more like I'm just staring at the words rather than actually reading. I get the feeling Hanako can notice this as well, so I sigh and close the book. What's up?
I was just wondering what you were reading.
She looks a little downcast after my reaction to seeing her. Giving up on the prospect of getting any more work done, I get up and return the book to its place on a shelf. Me too, back. I guess. The black is just an English textbook. Okay. So I'm reading a good book. It's called Metamorphosis by Shin Noel. Should I talk about my experience? Okay, YouTube is really refreshing because it happened to my second screen. What do you call it? Should I talk about my experience with that particular story? He's lying. I know it's a rom-com. Okay, one of my friends told me about that book. It's like, oh, Jaws, you should check this out. It's an adult manga. I'm like, I don't really read those. Yeah, Metamorphosis. I was like, I don't really read those. But he was like, no, you have to read this. I'm like, why do you want me to read this? It's like, just read it. So I decided to read it. I was like, oh damn, this is actually pretty sad. Like, as you guys know, I like to write stories. Like I write novels, but I never really get them published. I just write them for fun. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is actually conveying a very strong feeling. And when I saw the interviews of the author in the back of the story, he was talking about how he wanted to teach people about the impact of drugs. So I was like, oh damn. So this wasn't just an adult book. It was actually a pretty strong story. Like I underestimated it because my friend was... Obviously, Isha doesn't like you talking about it. I've read it and felt bad for 2 days. Like, at the time, I was also reading the Tokyo Ghoul manga. And Tokyo Ghoul was always about changes. Like, you saw Kaneki going from black hair to white hair, and his personality changing. I managed to make some parallels to Kaneki with Metamorphosis, because they went through pain, and they changed because of that pain. But one of them had a good ending, one of them had a bad ending. Like, I kinda undermined it, and I thought my friend was memeing, because this friend of mine likes to joke, like, haha, look at this, it's a funny adult manga, haha, horny, haha, ha 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 ha. So I undermined the story. Then I read it for myself, I'm like, this is a really deep story. Like, if the author cut out all the adult bits, I mean, the adult bits did add to the story. This would really make heads turn. Like, it would actually spread awareness of drug usage. Okay, back to this.
Has it helped?
It helped me realize that I don't like English. Yeah. Hanako gives a small giggle. I may muse on the strange state of our friendship, but I do know that such a little gesture are things that I can't see were I not at least some distance closer to her than when we first met. Exactly, that's what I tell my friend, that it's the... Just like your friend, I was like, I don't believe you. But I was like, the thing is, I'm kind of a curious person, so I was like, oh, I'm gonna read it then. Might as well, because I have nothing else to do. Maybe they just cannot stand that kind of things. I mean, it is an adult manga, so it being an adult manga, that turns a lot of people off. But to find out that that story was like, holy crap, that's deep. Gestures I wouldn't see if I were not at least some... Okay, and when we first met. Oh wow, I'm going into overtime. I look at her for a moment, thinking about what I do, and what I do and don't know about her. It's a slightly depressing topic. Goofy laugh. I wish I could do Goofy's voice. That would be fun to meme.
Is something wrong?
If I want to know more about her, maybe I should stop being so evasive about it. Talking with Lilly as an equal rather than being constantly in fear of causing her to become upset worked fine. So I should just try a straightforward approach with Hanako as well. Hey Hanako, do you mind if I ask you a question?
I don't mind.
I want to know what your life was like. Well, your life was like. Your life before coming to Yamaku. She hesitates and briefly considers backing off, but she seems to be taking the question quite seriously. Let's hear Hanako's story before I end the stream. I sit and watch back Yeah, it never... I sit and watch her, silently letting her take her time. She's not making eye contact with me, and looks almost as if she's arguing with herself into letting herself open up to me more. Yeah, I definitely always end stream early. Her answer finally comes in a stiff, almost reluctant nod. She looks far more tense than she did before I had asked.
Okay, but in return, you have to tell me about your life as well.
Yep, YouTube sometimes tries to end my stream. And then I get back up. Like I said, I'm full of motivation. I don't let technical difficulties stop me. Or illnesses, until that illness I had this week stopped me, because every time I got motivated, I got a headache. So my body found a way to stop my motivation. Or maybe I wasn't motivated enough. Who knows? Maybe I should try again when I get that sickness. Jaws, you need to learn a bit from Dante. What? I nod and follow her as she begins to walk out of the library so we can talk. Not saying your inner Virgil is bad, but you need a bit more Dante. Still, technical difficulties like the power and the internet went down. Yeah, I was still planning to stream even though there was a power outage. Should take breaks and make your dogs play for you. You'd like that, wouldn't you? By now, most of the students have left the main building. So, so apart from a few people hovering around club rooms, the hallways are largely empty. I guess I'll start with coming to Yamaku. Let's see. I was in the hospital when my parents first told me about Yamaku Academy. The doctors told me I shouldn't go to my old school anymore. My parents agreed and persuaded me to apply for Yamaku, even though it would mean living away from them for the first time.
It must have been hard for you.
Yeah, well, I have to admit that it was. My parents both work long hours and full time, so having to live responsibly independently isn't anything new to me. It was the fact that I was going to a school for disabled students that hit me the hardest, I think. And you? A small group of girls chatting passes us as we near the stairs, with Hanako pressing herself tightly to my side until we reach the ground floor. She doesn't usually come this close while just walking in the school, so I'm left a little put off. What do you mean I should take more from Dante?
The staff at the orphanage offered me some options on what I can do. Middle school hadn't been good, so I thought that Yamaku might be better. It was isolated, and I thought it might be easier to get by here, with most of the others being disabled.
It's pretty ironic that the reasons Hanako looked forward to Yamaku are the exact reasons I hated the idea. To me, it felt like I was being shunned somewhere away from society, and everyone I knew. To Hanako, this was probably an inviting prospect. What was life like at the orphanage?
It was okay.
And this is...
The staff were really very nice, and they took care of us. The students there didn't talk to me much, but I didn't really want to talk to them either, so I didn't mind. The orphanage had a little library, so I started to read to pass time. The staff didn't mind because it made it easier to handle than many of the other students. Made me easier. I can't speak today. I'm sorry.
You didn't have any friends there?
No, I think my life was on hold during that time. I knew that, but I didn't mind.
To think her life was on hold for all that time, though, depending on when the fire happened, that was a huge chunk of her life. No parents, no friends, apparently no relatives. We walked through the courtyard. We walked through the door into the courtyard. I expect to need to avert my eyes from the sun, but now it's well into sunset. Hanako's eyes kept flicking to me, so I look away from her for a bit.
Oh, what was it like in the hospital?
I quickly clear my thoughts and try to refocus them. I hesitate for a bit, but I know that I have to tell her. We're close enough to her to feel comfortable. Where? Instead of I'm, we're close enough to her to feel comfortable telling me this. So, oh wait, Hisao and Hanako. So it's only fair that I reciprocate. I probably didn't pronounce that properly. It was okay at times, but at others it was pretty bad. At the beginning, everyone sent their sympathies and came to visit often. It was just like breaking an arm or something. Meeting all my friends was one of the good times, Iwanaka came in often as well, more often than others, more often than anyone else. But there were bad times too. When my friends slowly stopped visiting, I began to realize how grave my situation was. It reminded me that it wasn't just a broken limb, but that I was now a different person than before. Even the times Iwanako would spend with me became torturous. By the end, we were reduced to silence, whereas before, she'd be talking constantly. But that's how Iwanako always was. She may have been a fragile person, but she would talk constantly to try and hide that fact. Not about anything in particular, just talk. I relate to that. I think the three lowest points would have been when my parents told me I won't be going to my old school anymore, my birthday passing while in the hospital, and when Iwanako left for the last time. We leave the school buildings behind us as we begin to follow the main path through the gardens. There may have been the odd bystander in the school buildings, but outside we're practically alone. Yeah, they're just talking.
What was your middle school like?
Our world's about... Is that Avengers? Oh, I missed that show. Too bad it got cancelled. To be replaced by a show called Avengers Assemble, which was horrible. I liked it. I grew up in a really metropolitan area, and the middle school was nearby, so it was pretty crowded. I didn't mind it, probably because I'm used to being in crowds and around lots of other people. I got good grades and I played soccer with my friends. I spent a far bit of time hanging out with them after school as well. Did get teased a bit over my hair though.
Your hair?
I grimaced a little as I put a hand over my hair to cover it. I keep getting tufts and strands and refuse to flatten or straighten. Oh, the ahoge. Or stand where I wanted. Yeah, I miss that show. I wanted them, and my mother wouldn't let me just get my hair shaved. It had a bit of habit of popping out, no matter how much I tried to brush it down.
It still does a little.
I was worried I'd get that reply.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
I gave a mild laugh and waved it off. It's fine, I know it still does. Lost. There's no way to go back. It feels strange to have someone act so interested in my past. If it were someone else, I'd think they were just acting polite. But that's something I really don't think Hanako would do. If she did, she'd do it so badly that it would be obvious. There are a number of girls in the common room on the ground floor, and Hanako presses herself on my side once more. As we pass them, I expect her to break off, but instead she continues to cling onto me as we walk towards the stairway. Something about the way she's holding onto me feels different from usual. I'm left deep in thought as we walk up the stairs and down the hallway. It's only when we stop that I looked up and realized that I've been following her without question. Why did we go to your dormitory room? She looks straight at the door without so much as a glance in my direction. Hanako? She moves to answer but stops herself. Instead, she suddenly breaks my side and opens her door and steps inside. I look up and down the hallway, a bit lost to exactly what I should do. Shrugging, I decide to follow her, since I don't have any reason to do otherwise. Hanako stands in the middle of her room and looks straight at me. It's unnerving when she does this, as it's such an unusual reaction for her. I open my mouth to speak, but she preempts me.
Could you close and lock the door?
Hanako reaches for her chest, grabbing her blouse at her heart. Hisao. Sorry, but you're gonna see a random image because I turned it off. I turn and lock the door shut, then freeze. The atmosphere is beginning to feel quite strange. This feeling is only made more profound when I hear the curtain being pulled behind me. It's going to be night soon. We're a guy and a girl in a bedroom. She's closing the curtains and I'm shutting and locking the door. Okay, I'll end the stream after this. She can't really have that in mind, can she? I go up and turn around, very, very slowly. Hanako is in the center of the room, but she hasn't turned back to face me.
You've told me about your fast, so I have to tell you mine.
She takes a deep and shuddering breath and pauses for a number of seconds. Her hands move to her ribbon and begin to tag, all but confirming my thoughts. Hanako?
Please, don't say anything.
I obediently stay hushed as she slid off her ribbon and continues to unbutton her blouse before working the clip on her bra. The process is slow. Perhaps it just feels slow because of what she's doing. I'm not sure. Or Virgil. I am the storm that is approaching. Frozen to the spot, Dante? Which one though? Will it be The Devil Never Cry? Or will it be Devil Never Cry or Subhuman? Or it could be Nero. All I can do is watch as Hanako, hands trembling, unclips her skirt and lets it drop to the ground. She's just showing you her scars, but it kinda like leads to the other. Anyone, please? Finally, she takes off her blouse in her hands and drops it off, her bra falling from her shoulders. And so, I'm gonna get age restricted, aren't I? But this is not safe for work off, so probably not. I've seen people watch this. And so, Hanako stands in the middle of the room, all but bared, save for her stockings and underwear.
This is me. All of me.
My eyes are immediately drawn to the scarring on her back. The skin on her right side is the same texture to that of her face. I'm looking respectively, but it's also stretched taut and covering a much larger area. The scarring is far the worst on the shoulders, buttocks, and thigh. Just as my heart attack redefined my life. I think you've heard. Don't let me. This is the event that redefined Hanako's. If I'd seen this when I first met her, I would have been shocked. Not only at the sight, but also at the idea that something like this was survivable. Forget the burn smash. But after having had time to get used to the idea, and after seeing the scars on her face, hands, and collar, my reaction is more measured. My reaction right now is not due to the scarring, but to her body. Making the mother of all not safe for work, Jaws. You can't fret everyone. Not when you're a horn dog. What do you know about not safe for work?
The fire the fire happened when I was 8 years old. It was night, and we were sleeping when it started.
In the beta, apparently she turned on a candle and the fire started, but they changed it. Hanako's voice trembles, and the shaking of her blouse giving away the fact that her hands are doing just the same. Am I really the horn dog?
I curled up into a ball when the fire swept over me. My mother tried to shield me. Mother tried to shield me. That's the only reason I lived.
Hanako's eyes begin to moisten, her voice cracking under the combined pressure of exposing herself to me like this and reliving those painful memories from so long ago. Like I said, I love Hanako's theme. Painful History is such a good song. It's probably my favorite track in the game. I want to say something, anything to make her feel better. I can't though. I feel completely useless when faced with a situation like this. She's forcing herself to come so close, yet it's at times like this that I feel most distant to her.
I'm sorry for making you see this.
There's no point in denying the obvious. I think what I should say now, and what Hanako wants me to say now, is the truth, what I genuinely, honestly believe. It doesn't matter. You're a wonderful person, Hanako. Your body doesn't change that. She looks at me for a long time, her breathing uneven as she tries to remain steady. Yeah, it's so to remain steady amongst the emotions we're both feeling. It feels like she's looking at me than she's looking. It feels less like she's looking at me than she's looking through me. I slowly walk towards her and I gently place my hands on her shoulder as she lets go of her blouse. She gasps a little. Not a fright, but a simple startlement. She didn't have to show interest, but they did. Being so close to her causes my mind to become a jumble of feelings. The scarring on her shoulder, plain to see and leather-like to the touch, conflicts strangely with her otherwise soft skin and silky dark hair. Like the scars didn't go that far. That's true. Hanako is a girl. With all that entails, she's taller than usual for a woman, but still has curves in the right places. Oh, darn it, Hisao, you're being a horn dog. Still has the curves in the right places. The nape of her neck, just visible thanks to her hair, slung over her shoulder, is alluring. And also, Ragnar didn't need to tell me this, but apparently Hanako has the third largest bust size in the game. Lilly has the first, and Lilly has the first, Shizune has the second, and Hanako has the third. I'm not controlling Hisao. This is a visual novel. I'm reading Hisao's. Alright, I'm leaving now.
I know that I'm not pretty. I'm not pretty. Like Lilly. I just wanted you to see me. The real me.
Emmy. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, and I don't know why Ragnar just randomly told me the bust sizes of the girls, because he's a horn dog. He's a giant horn dog. Yeah, he told me Emmy has the smallest. I've already seen the real you, though. You didn't need to take off your clothes for that. Crap. I thought not safe for work was off. Wait. It is off. Okay, you just need to trust me on this then. It is off. It actually is off. Meaning that the game considers that not adult content then. Yeah, I'm gonna get age restricted from this. But yeah. I'm gonna continue reading. Okay. It was a brief flash. Don't save the stream. I'm saving it, don't worry. No, the thing is, it is turned off. It's just that the game doesn't consider it adult. So it's the game's fault. But it was a brief flash, and also, I'll see what YouTube says tomorrow. But I've seen people stream this game on YouTube, so I think it should be relatively fine. But I'm not gonna show you guys. Whoops. Okay, I accidentally skipped the text. Her lips are open, just a little. She lets out a sharp breath, as without thinking. I breathlessly lean towards and press my lips to hers. Oh wow, they're actually kissing. The kiss only lasts for a fleeting moment before our face part. Also, I've seen streamers stream. Oh, she did. Didn't you? She mentioned that the game mentioned that she took it off. Also, I've seen people stream Witcher 3. I've seen people stream Witcher 3 and they forgot to censor it. And I've also seen people stream Assassin's Creed Valhalla and they forgot to censor it. The kiss only lasts for a few moments before our face part. Our breathing quick and nervous. The feeling of Hanako's mouth lingers, and her eyes remain locked to mine. Trembling a little myself, I remove my tie and begin undoing the buttons of my shirt. Hanako remains standing where she is, looking at the ground in front of her rather than me undressing. And also, it happened like 3 hours plus, so no one's gonna. On the one hand, I'm thankful for that. I'm always somewhat self-cautious of my body, but my scarring has made this quite a lot worse. On the other hand, though, this atmosphere feels very strange. Can you screen share a funny? I don't have anything funny though. You guys just, you know what? I'll go to my chat room. For some people who don't know, this is my chat room. I'll also turn off because the BMG is not playing right now. So, okay. My shirt falls to the floor in a heap, as untidy and uncrumpled as Hanako's blouse. You still have drip jaws, remember that? Are you talking about my kimono? And blouse and skirt. Hanako's entire body visibly flinches at the sound of my zipper on my trousers being pulled down. My trousers join my shirt on Hanako's floor next to the bed. It's off! Like, I checked the menu like multiple times and it's actually off. Next to the bed, as do my socks and shirt measure. I hesitate before taking off my boxers and end up leaving them on. They represent one last hurdle. I don't think I can overcome quite yet. Sure embarrassed. Oh, drip jaws. Sheer embarrassment stops me, along with not wanting Hanako getting even more worked up. My unease about the situation has also left me needing my own stimulation. Hanako. She gives a nod without so much as glancing at me, and makes her way to the bed as I do. She walks as if her legs are wooden sticks. I'd find it amusing if I weren't doing exactly the same thing. Trip. Also, for the people who hasn't seen my chat room, here it is. Welcome to my chat room. Can you tell I made it using Microsoft Paint? I take the initiative, turning around and sitting on the side of the table. I look up to her face to invite her to take a seat, either next to me or in front of me, but I end up awkwardly looking down to force myself from staring at her body. Okay, wait. Okay, they didn't go through the scene. It was just they didn't go through the scene, so it's giving me a random image. It gave me barbecue again, if you guys remember the barbecue. After a couple of seconds, it ends. Cause if the adult content was still on, they were going to every single detail of them doing it. But no, I just got an image of a barbecue. It's making me hungry again. The sound of Hanako's breathing with my own rings in my ears. Almost painfully loudly, Hanako holds an arm over her face, her mouth open and gasping in air. Yeah. We got the same barbecue image in Lily's route. As I hold myself over her, suddenly my arms almost gave way and my vision distorts, as if someone's grabbed it and pulled it sideways. I let myself fall sideways onto the bed beside the panting Hanako, for fear of falling onto her instead. I can't believe I'm reading this. We both lie beside each other, naked and pressed against one another in order to fit on a bed made for a single person. My eyes try to focus on the ceiling, to not much success. Pulling a blanket over us to stave off the cold is all I can do. The only sound in the room is that of our breathing. The sweat that had accumulated on my body feels uncomfortable. He just got Hanako'd. Yeah, like, they didn't show me the, what should I call it? The horn dog scene, but they still showed Hanako naked. So I'm guessing the game doesn't consider that as an adult content. We're both physically and emotionally exhausted. No clapping noises, please. And a complete mess all over. And his house getting hard. Okay, I think it's safe to go back. Don't worry, I have my button ready, just in case. What did the game... They don't have that prompt, though. My vision slowly blurs to begins to return to normal as I continue to stare at the ceiling, but my limbs still feel like jelly. I try to concentrate on my chest and find its beat irregular and mildly painful. This is a dangerous time. I have to think this through and not panic, lest I make my situation any worse. You mean Sir Jess? I was supposed to end earlier, but that caught me off guard. With a huge effort, I take control of my erratic breathing, forcing myself to make calm, deep breaths. I couldn't count half a dozen before I start to feel physically calm again, and hold my hand on my chest to assure myself. My heart beats back to normal. I'm okay. Okay, it's fine. I'm gonna end the stream here. So I'll save. So, I hope you guys had fun. That came unexpectedly. So, yeah. Yeah, I'll do it. Just I was away for a whole day, so I'll be right back. So, I hope you guys had fun. Like what my other forums did. That was quite eventful. So the game doesn't see that as an adult content. That is interesting. But if you don't see this video, then you know what happened. So, I hope you guys had fun, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye bye.